of those. I'd say it is Hannah Long in that second position currently representing Melbourne University. So 12.5 laps ahead of them in this combined or mixed gender E-race. First of our 9-event program for the Victorian 5,000 metre championships.
Yeah, so we have seven events for this evening, graded open 5K events, and our 2 under 20, so under 20 men and women in the middle of the program to look forward to. And as you said, we've got our bolter out front in Elliot Schumberg. Going 2 minutes through the first 600 metres, well ahead of his seeded time, and a bit of a battle on second to fifth position there.
So Hannah Long taking that second position and leading that chase group. She has her teammate Stella Lockhart from Melbourne University just behind her. And then we have the New South Welsh lady representing Bankstown Athletics, Shane Hargraves. She's sitting in the next position with Tess Rose right on her heels as they go through. Glenn Crawford, trail going to be next spot. And then Georgia Pounding from Old Severians. So a good opening here. We'll get the 1K split as they come around and they get the 10 laps to go. Schulberg, I think that gap's starting to close a little bit, Michael. I think the girls are working well together.
Yeah, as we know in 5K racing, it's much easier to be working with others, and it definitely looks like that gap is closing. Only slightly, but give it another lap or so. 18:30 is the time that a lot of our top competitors here will be chasing. So looking for around that 3:40 mark through 1 kilometre as the clock just ticks over 3:16, 3:17, 3:18. So well ahead of that 18:30 goal pace, probably around the 18-minute pace as they run through that first kilometre mark in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. 17:30 pace.
17:30 pace. Yeah, no, there you go. And the girls are really working well together. I'm impressed by Georgia Pounding as well. She's just sitting off the back there of Crawford. Also Lisa Thompson, former KSB athlete. You'd remember Lisa representing KSB with great pride for many years. She's now resident in northern New South Wales, and great to see Lisa back in Melbourne here and competing once again. Little gap there to the Ivanhoe runner there, and Rachel Patterson, been very consistent across the XCR season, and good to see Rachel now out on track. Marianne McSweeney also in that pack. Looks like Summer Albertson also there. But that gap, it's starting to narrow.
Yeah, it's only going to be a matter of couple hundred metres, and it might be one pack out in front. Love to see it. There are a few smaller packs forming in this 5K race. It does make it hard as the field gets strung out as the 12.5 laps tick by. But they're setting a cracking pace, about a minute or so ahead of their seed times that they entered with. And there's not all that much breeze out on track at the moment as we see the Athletics Victoria flags just only fluttering slightly in the breeze. And we know the weather's on the cooler side tonight as well. So it is favourable conditions to run a solid time tonight.
A bit of a breeze coming, maybe it's a southeasterly, I'd say, coming through. It's definitely coming through the gap near the finish line. And as you see, the girls just about to make contact now. So Hannah just had a peek around the shoulder to see what's going on, and she see her teammate there, Stella, not too far behind. Good move by Lisa Thompson just to get ahead of Crawford and also Pounding. So quite a lot happening in this second kilometre. I think Schulberg's just started to pick up the pace a little bit. He doesn't want to get past yet, and he's just starting to stretch the girls out. So Tess Rose just sitting nicely in the pocket there. Looks like Hargrave's just sitting at the back of that chase pack. The pace, as we said, it is looking pretty good around that 17:30 pace.
And in only a matter of moments, our front runners might just be merging together. Schumberg still holding strong in that leading position. as we close in on 1,800 metres of this 5,000 metre event. So Schumberg, Rhodes, Lockhart.
So it'd be interesting to see Schulberg how he deals with this as the girls come up on his shoulder. He did surge forward just a little time ago, but now we're seeing Lung. She's done all the work to bring the team back up again. Hargraves looking very comfortable sitting there in the yellow uniform of Bankstown. Also Rhodes, good to see Tess back out running the 5,000 metres, representing Geelong Guild. And Schulberg once again just puts on a little bit of a surge as he goes down the back straight. Probably a little bit of a tailwind as they go down there. And they now approach the 2 kilometre mark. So it's been a bit of a slower second kilometre. They've gone from 3:30 to about 3:40 on that kilometre. So they've dropped 10 seconds. So now the goal time, they're still in the realms of a sub 18 if they can now maintain that thereabouts at 3:40 or just below.
Yeah, it's pretty typical in a 5K to go out a little bit harder that first kilometre and then hold that tempo in the middle stages. And we see our female athletes just pretty happy staying in that same formation that they got into early in the race and sitting on the heels of Schumberg being the pace setter.
Schulberg still leads. Long, Rhodes in next position. Then side by side, you've got Lockhart and also Hargraves. Next one through now is Josh Maloney from Southwest wearing the Geelong regional uniform. He's got McMenemy right on his heels. They've just gone past Thompson from New South Wales. A bit of a gap then to Georgia Pounding. Then you have the Ivanhoe runner there in Patterson. With her at the moment, Will McCulloch from Ballarat YCW. Then a bit of a gap to Crawford. Albertson and McSweeney working well together. So Hodgart would be next on the track and Newman about to be lapped.
So approaching the halfway mark. Almost 2.5 kilometres done, and Schumberg still holding on to that leading position. So we see all the girls behind just bunching up a little bit.
So I'd say dead on 9 minutes at the 2.5K mark, so right on 18-minute pace. So they've got to probably just, if they want to break the 18, they've just got to get that little bit of a move on. Now, is it a mistake by sitting there? Let's see if someone makes a move, and Hargraves, I think, might be the one who does that. So Shane Hargraves, good move there. She can probably just sense the pace coming off a little bit. Schulberg just stops the watch there or gets the lap time as he goes through, but I think Hargraves is the one with the momentum, and Shane would love to get a sub-18. Very, very capable of doing that. From the Limitless track team in southern New South Wales, representing the Bankstown Athletic Club, and Shane Hargraves comes into this race with, quite a lot of cred. So she's a good performer in the domestic competition in New South Wales, and we're just seeing that beautiful flowing stride of Shane just taking the lead now. Hannah Long following.
So now we really are starting to see the whole field strung out across the track, covering about 200 metres here at Lakeside Stadiums as the breeze turns into a definite wind going in the, as you said, Tim, southwesterly direction. So helping the athletes for half a lap, but then hindering for the other half. So making running a little bit more difficult out there. Makes it even more important to be running right on somebody's heels and copping a bit of a windbreak. As Hargraves still holding that lead, that she got about 300 metres ago.
So running order at the moment, Hargraves, Long, Rhodes, Schulberg, then Lockhart. Seeing a good move here from Maloney. And McMenemy really is starting to get a bit of a head of steam. So using Josh Maloney beautifully there is Sophie McMenemy.
And only a few seconds shy of that 18-minute 5K pace. So over the span of about 500 metres, they are maintaining pace now. And looking at the stride of Hargraves, maybe even increasing the cadence.
So most of our runners now going through that 3 kilometre mark, 5 laps to go. Hargraves just extending it a little bit there, out by about 2 metres over Long. Rhodes hanging on beautifully. Gap then to Schulberg, another gap then to Lockhart. And we see Maloney and also McMenemy really on the move down the back straight. Long once again looking quite strong here. Rhodes in a perfect position there. So Tess just going along in the slipstream of Hannah Long. Shane Hargraves still leading the way as they get 4 laps to go. This will be a nice, interesting race in 3. Maloney and McMenemy now moving up the field as well. They've gone past Lockhart and they've now got Schulberg in their sights.
Yeah, some very smart racing that we're seeing on display with about 1.5 kilometres to go. Racing's only going to get heating up. After all, it is state championship racing here tonight at Lakeside Stadium. There, every athlete out on the track is chasing a PB, but we are obviously interested in the battles for the minor placings. So Hargraves is looking smooth, but Rhodes sitting in third position is looking like she is conserving a bit of energy, just waiting for her time.
I wouldn't be surprised if Maloney drags McMenemy right up to that lead pack in the next lap or two. They certainly have the momentum, and Sophie McMenemy is really doing a good job just hanging off in that slipstream and making the most of her pacemaker just in front of her. We're seeing Hargraves still setting the pace out front, Long looking quite comfortable, and Rhodes has been in perfect position the whole of the journey, coming down to get 3 laps to go. Hargraves, Long, Rhodes, Maloney, McMenemy, Schulberg in that order, 3 out. But I think there might be a little bit of fireworks, Michael, as we see Josh Maloney just bearing down on the lead bunch of 3 females. And that'll be interesting to see what the response is as both he and McMenemy go past.
Yeah, very interesting how this played out. We've said that Rhodes looks very comfortable sitting in that third position now, but as Maloney and McMenemy storm past the pack, we're just going to have to see how comfortable. If she's been waiting for her time for the pace to increase, or if she's doing all she can to hang on, as Maloney really does extend the stride and set the tempo out the front of the pack with McMenemy right on his heels at the 4 kilometre mark.
So 14:31 through the 4 kilometre there. Josh Maloney, Athletics Southwest leading the way. Sophie McMenemy, Western Athletics in second position. Shane Hargraves, Bankstown, still holding down that third position with Long and also Rhodes not too far adrift. Schulberg also in the picture, hasn't really drifted too far off the back of those the female competitors in front, but it is Maloney and McMenemy just carving their own pace into this final kilometre.
So as an average at the 4K mark, Maloney and McMenemy were probably just off 18-minute 5K pace, but looking at the way their legs are ticking over, I'd say they'd be heading for around that mark if they can close a little bit stronger in this last kilometre. And we see a sub-18 from these leading athletes as McMenemy just gets up on the shoulder of Maloney to make him put in a bit of extra work.
So former Victorian junior champion Sophie McMenemy, good to see her back out. We saw a bit of her during the XCR season and she is really going for it here, Michael. So one of your teammates from Western A's, you must be pretty proud to see Sophie back on the track and looking so good.
Absolutely, and very smart tactical running there as well. Just waited, knew the pace that she had to run. And with 600 metres to go, looks like she's going to put everything in it to crack that 18-minute barrier, I'd say.
I think she's a very good chance of that because we're seeing that momentum really lift and Sophie's looking very good over these final stages. So now out by about 10 metres. You see Maloney just going past Hodgart. And into the home straight comes Sophie McMenemy. And we do request that all of our competitors finish in lane 3. So Sophie will come down. She'll be the first one to hear the bell. Josh Maloney not too far behind, probably stretched out to 15 metres difference now. And the interest also will be with our female chase pack as we see Tess Rhodes finally make a move. Lung trying to follow her. Hargraves just has to hang on. So McMenemy and Maloney into the final lap. Rhodes launching, Lung going with her. Now it's up to Hargraves to stay in there. Schulberg not too far behind.
In a race that's seen so many lead changes, McMenemy 300 metres to go, followed by Maloney. Rhodes was just waiting for so much of the race. She's put herself into 3rd position and is just solidifying that position as the laps go on. 200 metres to go for McMenemy.
I think we're going to see a bit of a challenge here from Maloney. You can just see his tempo going up down the back straight there with the assistance of the breeze. And into the home straight they come. They'll be separated by about 10 metres. So McMenemy just tries to lift once again, but Maloney is starting to get a little bit more momentum around that top bend. Into the home straight they come. Maloney goes up again. It's the pure strength of the male versus the endurance of the female, but McMenemy goes up. So Sophie really fighting to the line here. Josh just trying to come over the top. Let's see who's going to get it, but I think Sophie might just take it, and it'll be well under the 18-minute mark. So great running, Sophie McMenemy and Josh Maloney. Fantastic performances. 7:53.91 unofficial. We'll get the official time. Tess Rhodes. Michael, good run from Tess.
Absolutely. Tess Rhodes not going to be too far over that 18-minute mark. Nor is Hannah Leung. Great little battle there. And Shane Hargraves making the trip down to Victoria worth it as Schumberg finishes just behind. All the athletes striving for PBs, striving for season's bests, but we saw some good old-fashioned racing out there in our first event of the evening here at the Vic 5K Champs.
So 17:53.89 as we see Will McCulloch and also Lockhart coming across the line. Then Lisa Thompson, Georgia Pounding, one of our great athletes representing Oldsavarians, recently represented Australia at the World Tri Championships, I think. 17:53 official winning time, 0.89 for our winner there, Sophie McMenemy from Western Athletics. See Marianne McSweeney from Deakin approaching the line now. Summer Elberson, also Glenn Crawford crossing the line there, the Mentone and Traralgon athletes, and Claire Hodgegard, next one through.
So we'll have a little bit of a break now before our men's D 5,000 metre is on the track at 6:45. There's Faith Newman, just a couple of 100 metres to go for Faith Newman in the
Could we have all of our competitors in the men's D race to the finish line to be checked off? All our competitors in the men's D race, please report to the... So Liam Furlong, if you could make your way back to the finish line, please. Liam Furlong from Ivanhoe, please make your way to finish. To be checked off by our officials before we commence the next race, which is the men's D, scheduled for 6:45 p.m.
Okay, and Faith Newman rounding out the field in our mixed E-race. First race, all done and dusted here at the 5,000 metre championships. First of 9 5,000 metre races for the evening. The next being our men's D 5,000 metres. So as mentioned earlier, we have 3 under 20 races on this evening. So we have our men's D followed by our men's under 20B, men's under 20A, women's under 20A, and then our men's and women's Open A races followed by men's B and C. So 9 races on the program tonight. Our A races sandwiched right in the middle.
Next up, we do have the men's D race over 5,000 metres. There will be 17 starters. Once again, we'll introduce them once they are underway.
And underway in the men's D 5,000 metre event with hip number 1 through to 17, we have Blake Barber of Western Athletics, Braylon Renton of Richmond. Number 3 is James Maguire Capone of Melbourne Uni. Number 4 is Francesco Ciano from Melbourne Uni. Number 5 is Zhenjong Xiao from Melbourne Uni. Number 6 is Ben Rouse from Essendon. Number 7, William Stachin from Mentone. Number 8 is Sam Greenberg from Maccabi. Number 9, Owen Todd from Collingwood. Number 10, Stephen Flanagan from South Melbourne. 11 is Manolo Segdao from Melbourne Uni. Number 12, Andrew Crawford of Wellington. Number 13, Kieran Morley from Eureka. Number 14, Aaron Walker from Mentone. 15 is Ashan De Silva from Wellington. 16, we have Liam Furlong from Ivanhoe. And to round out the field, number 17 is Archie Hewitt from Mornington. So Kieran Morley from Mentone in the yellow singlet.
So I'll just wait to get clear vision as they come into the home straight for the second time. Yeah, looks like it might be Morley from Eureka leading the way. Mornington, that could be Archie Hewitt. And then Braylon Renton, Richmond Harriers, sitting in next position. So infield clock not working at the moment. We have got a running clock here. So just just approaching the 2-minute mark now. Nice bunch in that chase position. Francesco Ciancio, Melbourne University, just bringing up the rear at the moment. The Wellington competitor there, I think that would be Crawford. Just ahead of him. But out front, Morley setting the pace. Hewitt. Owen Todd from Collingwood Harriers has joined the party out front. Lead group of 4.
And almost playing out like the previous race in a bit of a pack out the front of the field. Seed times are around 16 minutes, so we will keep our eye on the clock for the sake of the time. We'll update you as the laps go by, but it is still our athlete from Eureka in Kieran Morley.
So approaching the 1 kilometre mark. Approaching the 1 kilometre mark now. Morley's still controlling pace. It looked like Hewitt wanted to take the lead there, but they're going through the 1K, and Archie has a look at the clock, and it'll be 3:10 on the clock. So 15:50 pace, just under the 16-minute target. Looks like Ashan De Silva, one of the next ones out there. I think Sagata might be up there as well. Then we have the Ivanhoe runner in Furlong. But that group of 4 out front, they have a break of probably 45 to 50 metres as they go down the back straight into the 2nd kilometre.
And Todd just getting up on the shoulder of, and doesn't spend much time on the shoulder of anyone, and goes from 4th position to 1st position in the blink of an eye. So in the space of 50 metres, Todd takes charge of this race. Like the pace wasn't hot enough at 15:50 per K. He wants to get this moving even more. But it doesn't seem to worry the likes of Morley, Hewitt and Renton, who are just going stride for stride. Almost like there was a bit of an agreement pre-race to do some sharing of the lead here.
Obviously the guys probably keen to get that 15 as the first digit, or the first 2 digits in their times here, and it is Todd that's doing a really good move there just to keep that pace going. Zhenkong Xiao next on the track, Furlong with him. And then we have Sam Greenberg from Maccabi. Not far behind him, Ben Rouse in the Essendon colours. So a few groups forming.
And 5 athletes in this race with seed times of 16:10 and faster. So between 16 minutes and 16:10 for 5 of these athletes, 3 of which are in that leading pack. So definitely keen to break that barrier and working together well to do so. So Todd, Morley, Hewitt and Renton are your top 4 in this early stage of the 5,000 metres.
Gap to Zhengkong Zhao, probably about 40 metres as they're drawing in to close out the second kilometre. Todd doing a really good job just keeping the pace going. Morley still in second position. Hewitt. Braylon Renton, Richmond. He's got a 16.08 to his name, so sitting pretty there is Renton in the Richmond colours.
And they're trying to do as little thinking as possible out the front of this race, just going stride for stride, just looking at the bibs on the back of the person in front of them, apart from Todd, who is setting the pace in the Collingwood colours at the head of the field. As they near the 2 kilometre mark, we'll keep an eye on the time, but 16.24 would have them at 16-minute pace. Sorry, 6.24 would have them at 16-minute pace.
It's going to be close. Just hitting 6:20 now, so I think they'll just be slightly adrift of the 16-minute schedule as they go through the 2 kilometre mark, 6:27 unofficially there. So Todd has a look at the watch as he goes through, thinking, okay, I've got to lift it a little bit more. Maybe seeing a few little cracks appear in that lead bunch as we see Furlong now take over the lead of the chasers. Furlong, one of the top seeds at around 16 minutes, but he's now looking at a deficit for 35 to 40 metres as they come through, and they'll be getting 7 laps to go.
And Hewitt almost has taken a bit of a side step there as he just looks to pass Morley and Todd all at once. And you'd still expect these 4 runners to stay together. So they're all looking pretty comfortable, but they know the pace does have to pick up just that little bit over the next few laps to put themselves back on track for PBs here tonight.
So Furlong, Zhengkong Zhao, Greenberg, Maguire Capone, they're the chase group of 4. A little bit of a gap back to Ashanta Silva from Wellington, Rouse, Flanagan. And I would say that's Manolo Sagado of Melbourne University in that next group of 4. Then a gap to the Mentone runner. That's William Strawn. Sorry, we've got 2 Mentone runners, either Strawn or Walker. We'll catch that when they come round. But we're seeing a nice little surge forward there from Archie Hewitt. Hewitt now trying to force the pace out front and seeing if anyone will go with him. And at the moment, the answer is no, because he is starting to open up that gap.
Yeah, it's the first time that we've seen a bit of a gap, only a couple of metres, but first time that we're seeing cracks form in that leading pack as Renton from Richmond Harriers just fills that gap, gets on the heels of Hewitt, which probably helps Todd and Morley a whole lot there as well.
So they went through the halfway mark right on that 8-minute mark. So let's see if they can negative split this 5,000 metres. It means the runners out front really have to keep working that pace. Now, of that lead 4, Renton's the only one who hasn't led that group at one stage. So let's see if Renton decides he's going to take up the pace at some stage to really help Hewitt out, and also see if Todd can go with them. It looks like Morley is just starting to drop off.
So now's a crucial stage in the 5,000 metre event. Between that 2 to 3 kilometre mark is where things start to get tough, and we can see, as you said, Morley just dropping off ever so slightly. Even Todd just falling off the heels of Renton of Richmond, just that little bit. So Hewitt, the front runner.
So approaching the 3 kilometre mark now. They'll be under the 10-minute mark. They'll be around the 9:40, I'd say, as they go through. So I think, Michael, that's sitting right on that 16-minute pace. Hewitt still leading the way from Renton, Todd, Morley. Now we're seeing Zhengkong Zhao and Furlong driving the pace. Greenberg just sitting in the clutch position behind them. And then it is Maguire Capone. So 9:39 unofficially there through the 3 kilometre mark, as we see Flanagan now in the South Melbourne colours going through just right on that 10-minute mark. That's 16:40 pace.
So it's a bit hard to tell at the front of the field if Hewitt and Renton are increasing the pace or if Morley and Todd are just slipping off that little bit. So as we said, they were 8 minutes through 2.5 kilometres, which puts them right on track for that sub 16-minute 5K if they're able to increase the pace just a little bit in these final couple of kilometres.
So it looks like Ciancio out of the race at the 3 kilometre mark as our leaders come through. They'll be getting 4 laps to go.
So there's a definite break now between Renton and Hewitt, who lead, or Hewitt and Renton, and Todd and Morley, who are just hanging on.
Now the Melbourne Uni boys starting to really lift their pace too. Zhenkong Zhao and also Maguire Capone, they're just starting to break away from Furlong and Greenberg. Bit of a gap then to Flanagan. To Silver in the next position. Segardo next. Then we have Rouse. Next one on the track is Strawn from Mentone. And then from Wellington, we have Andrew Crawford. Blake Barber, Western Athletics coming through now. And also from the Mentone Athletic Club, we have Aaron Walker. Out front, not much change, Michael. It's going to be a close race.
Yeah, out front, that's for sure. Hewitt and Renton. Hewitt's held that lead for quite a while now. There's been a few leaders, Todd early on, Morley for a period of time. Renton is the only one of those top 4 who hasn't been in the lead. So we'll see if that changes in the final stages, if he's just sitting pretty on the heels of Hewitt, who has been doing the work for a while.
Now, if anyone's got momentum, it's Zhenkong Zhao from Melbourne University. He's just coming alongside the shoulder of Todd as we go through to get 3 laps to go. So Zhao moving nicely. His teammate Maguire Capone also starting to take scalps as we enter into the final stages of this 5,000 metres, approaching the 4 kilometre mark.
So we'll do a bit of a time check. We are looking for 12:48 to be right on pace for that 16-minute 5K, and the clock just ticks over 12:48 right now. So just that few seconds off, boys up the front will really have to lift to go sub.
So 12:55 at 4 kilometres. No change in the lead. Big changes coming through the field though. Zhenkong Zhao now has Morley in his sights as he really starts to lift that momentum. Maguire Capone not far behind him. Then we have Todd and Greenberg. Furlong in next position. Into the home straight to get 2 laps to go. Archie Hewitt still leading. Renton looks like he's got a little bit of juice in the tank here though, because he's just sitting on the heels, not making any moves just yet as we hit 2 to go.
So 2 to go. Loving the battles in the minor positions here. There's Morley just hanging on 4, but Zhenkong Zhao puts himself into 3rd position now. And don't discount him to catch the leaders over the last 2 laps. I never discount anyone, especially with the momentum that he's carrying through. As Renton, as I say that, Renton puts the burners on and gets about a 5-10 metre gap on Hewitt in a matter of 30 metres. So Renton, 1.5 laps to go, 600 metres left, and he's charging for home.
Now the big question is, did he leave the charge too late to get the sub 16? We'll know that as he comes through to get the bell. We'll get the time check as he goes through, but we're starting to see some lap runners now. So once again, we request all runners to finish in lane 3 for a photo finish, as Renton just sets automatically a 30 metre break here. So he'll be coming through to get the bell first. He's actually a good chance now to break the 16 and keeping that momentum. He goes through at 14:45, so 75-second lap should do it. And I think he's got the goods here, Michael, with that surge that we saw
Yeah, it seems that Hewitt, I don't think, has slowed down all that much. It's just Renton has gone bang and pretty much picked up 4 to 5 seconds within 400 metres there. And he's looking very good to go under 16 minutes for the first time. Shenkong Xiao in that third position and probably not going to catch Hewitt, but absolutely charging towards the finish line and potentially picking up a PB of his own. 200 metres left for Renton. So as he rounds the pole vault area, past that final steeplechase, entering the home straight, 100 metres to go for Renton.
So this will be well and truly under that 16-minute mark. Impressive last kilometre here from Braylon Renton. And the Richmond Harrier, he will take the win here in our D race, well under the 16-minute mark. He'll be stopping the clock approximately 15:51. Hewitt, he'll be next one through. Once again, we ask all runners to finish in lane 3. Zhenkong Zhao will take that third position, but Archie Hewitt, the young man from Mornington Peninsula Athletic Club, he'll be just over the 16 mark, unofficially 16:06. And then Zhao, he'll be chasing that 16:10, but he'll just go over 16:12 unofficially. Then Maguire Capone, also Morley coming through. He'll be under the 16:20 mark. And Greenberg, the next one in. So 15:51.78, the official winning time there. Braylon Renton from Richmond, as we see a few more coming through. Furlong, looks like the silver. Nice finish just over the top of Todd. Flanagan will be next one through. He'll be right on 16:40. Manolo Segato, Melbourne University, 16:47 thereabouts. Rouse will be next in with Strawn. So Ben Rouse stopping the clock. 16:56. Strawn also under the 17-minute mark. Andrew Crawford, he'll be next one in, approximately 17:09. As we see our Western Athletics athlete, Blake Barber. And also the second of the Mentone runners, Aaron Walker. Final two to finish here in the D race. And they'll be finishing right on the 17:30 mark. Both of them just under, according to my timing. So next up will be the men's under 20 B race. We will have 14 starters if they can make their way to the finish line to be introduced to the lap scorers. That would be appreciated. 14 starters, the B race for the men's under 20.
Fuller to start, referee. Fuller to start and Fuller to commentation director. You do not have zeros. You do not have zeros. Lower the clock at the moment, please. That's all right. The average basically we're up and straight there, so let me know when you're ready and then we'll get going.
Start to rocket and photo in this race. We have a DNS in 6. We have now 15. So we've got 14 in total. So just confirm that's what you have.
Very no 6. 6 is the thing.
And this will hit me 15 now. Okay, gentlemen, on the start line in hit number order. Okay, gentlemen, so your start line's a front curve line. Just make sure your toes are behind the line, not on the line. They're going to announce you when we start, so we should be going really soon. So good luck, everyone.
So in the starters' hands now, the men's B race for the under 20.
On your marks.
So underway now, the men's under 20 B race. We have 15 starters, and they are Rodri Whelan from Diamond Valley in Station 1. Next to him, his teammate from Diamond Valley, William Quigley in 2. Gilbert McCann from Nunawading in Station 3. Robbie Petrie from Box Hill in Station 4. From Athletics Essendon, we have Samuel Duncan in 5. Noah Philippe from Glen Huntley's in 6. Dempsey Podmore, Traralgon Harriers in 7. Alexander Feehan from Glen Huntley in Station 8. Ashley Miller from Bendigo University is in Station 9. Matthew Bergen Mentone in 10. Jamie Edwards from Melbourne University, he lines up in Station 11. Lachlan Fulton Mentone in 12. Jasper Gay from Athletics Essendon in 13. Also from Athletics Essendon, Hamish McLaren in 14. And rounding out the field from Glen Huntley, Bruce Arndt in Station 15.
So in these very early stages, the athletes are bunched, but it is Fulton of Mentone and Podmore of Traralgon who are leading the way ahead of McLaren and Gay of Essendon. As we said, it's pretty tightly bunched across this first 400 metres with a pack of about 8 forming at the head of the field as the athletes go through in a 74, 75 second first lap.
So Podmore setting a nice little pace out front. So Dempsey ran last week at Miles Club and was fairly impressive there. Got a few of the Essendon boys. Gay would be one of those. Also Quigley from Diamond Valley in the mix early. The Box Hill runner there too, that is Petrie. So coming second at the moment, Hamish McLaren from Essendon. They're moving nicely as they go through 153 and they're at the 600 metre mark. Field still fairly tightly bunched.
athletes are starting to string out, but not all that much. Pretty solid pack of 8 at the head of the field. Podmore of Traralgon, followed by McLaren and Gay of Essendon. Quigley of Diamond Valley is in the mix as well, as is Petrie of Box Hill. McLaren just getting up on the shoulder of Podmore and considering making a move to get himself into the lead. Or he might just stay there on the bend. So as athletes spread across almost into lane 2, we know it is a bunched up affair.
Looks like McLaren wants to take the lead, just trying to edge his way past Podmore, but Podmore's just holding ground on that rails, which is a good position to take, but McLaren's just going to get himself forward. So they hit the 1 kilometre mark and they go through in just under the 3:10 mark, so 3:08. So not a bad opening, but that's giving them, what, 15:40 something goal time. But I think some of these guys are capable of 15:30, so we might see it kick down a little bit.
And that might be why we are seeing a bit of a bunch pack in these early stages. Maybe they're going for the more tactical race. It is a state championship after all, though the B under-20 division is a race out on track at the moment. As it's almost starting to string out that little bit, as McLaren may have seen the split going through the first kilometre and thought he probably wanted a little bit more from the time in these early stages. Hence putting himself at the head of the field and dragging the others along. So probably losing a couple of the Glen Huntley athletes off the back of that initial pack of 8 runners.
And I think the pace injection is already starting to potentially claim some victims, as we see McLaren just moving nicely. Podmore's in his wake, then Gay on the rails. To the outside of him is Petrie, then Quigley. So that's Bergen in next position from Mentone. Then Duncan's hanging on nicely. Gap then to Fulton. And then we have Arn and also Fian from Glen Huntley. Rodri Whelan in next position. Then from Bendigo University, we have Asher Miller. Gilbert McCann next. And then Jamie Edwards from Melbourne University. So around 100 metres separating the entire field. We're into the second kilometre.
So McLaren, one of the highest seeded athletes in this race, really in position to dictate the pace. Training partner in Jasper Gay, only a couple of strides behind him, but they are forming that solid pack of 6 now. That Fulton, our early leader from Mentone, has just dropped off almost into no man's land, just off that leading pack. So trying to increase that pace a bit, and probably be happy with a time in the mid-15s rather than the higher range of the 15s. Around 15:20 to 15:30 would be a pretty nice result for some of these athletes.
Robbie Petrie looking quite solid, just sitting in third position there. Quickly the same, the Diamond Valley runner, just sitting one out, one back on Gay. I think a few of these boys, Michael, could potentially take up the pace if it does start to drift again. But McLaren doing a pretty good job out front. We're going to get their time going for the 2 kilometre mark fairly soon, and that'll give us a good indication. So around the 3:08 mark, I think it was for the first kilometre. So let's see if they're around that, under that 6:20 position.
So a strong little pack at the head of the field. Duncan probably just holding on to the very back as they go through that first 2K in 6:16. So exactly the same pace through the first K and the second K, 3:08 and 3:08, putting them on pace to run putting them on pace to run 15:40. So they probably would be hoping to wind this, or a couple of athletes in this front pack would be happy to wind it up or looking to wind it up just a little bit. And for a few athletes, it suits quite nicely, just hovering around this tempo for the next couple of kilometres anyway.
So Bergen and Duncan happy to sit at the rear of that pack, because as Michael says, the pace is very consistent, so they don't need to do any work. We're seeing Petrie just to the outside of Podmore and looking quite good. Podmore's just hugging the rails, not a bad spot to be in, and Jasper Gay doing exactly the same, one position back.
And I was saying just a lap ago that Duncan from Essendon was dropping off the back of that pack a little bit. I regret everything that I've said. He is well and truly on the heels of our Mentone athlete in Bergen there. So it really is a solid pack of 7 at the head of the field, led by McLaren, as he has done for the previous 4 to 5 laps. So will there be any change as they go through 2.5 kilometres in just over 7 minutes and 50 seconds?
No real change to pace here. McLaren doing a good job out front. Petrie still cruising alongside Podmore. Looks like he's got the goods to go here, but he's just holding it back still. Duncan still in contact. Bruce Arndt, unfortunately, in no man's land at the moment. Duncan in front of him by about 30 metres. Behind him, his teammate there in Fian. He's with Fulton from Mentone. Gap then to Rodri Whelan. Gilbert McCann in next position. Nice little group of 3 there, Michael, at the tail of the field, which is going to help those boys really push the pace through over these remaining laps.
And Petrie from Box Hill all of a sudden starts to make it a little bit of a race as he steps into that leading position just as they round the pole vault mats and coming into that home straight. So Petrie, McLaren, Quigley, but the pack is still solid. No one's dropping off. The pace doesn't seem too hot for anyone at this stage. McLaren probably does get a little bit of a rest now for a while, just sitting on Petrie's heels. Quigley just running a little bit wide, looking to get himself right on the rails there. But it's still a very solid pack of 7, Tim.
Yeah, so another good kilometre there. Probably just took the pace off a little bit. 9:28 at the 3 kilometre mark, so they're 5 laps out. Bruce Arndt still trying to tack himself back onto that pack, but it's a big ask from this position. Fian in next position, then Fulton. Petrie still leading the way. The pace has gone off a little bit. Quigley looking good in that 3rd position. He's got Bergen also looking very, very steady. Jasper Gay just to the outside of Bergen as they go through. A little bit of a gap forming now, 2 to 3. So McLaren still right in the heels of Petrie. Now we're seeing Bergen make his move, and I'm not surprised by that. He was looking good. So Bergen doesn't want to lose contact, and he surges forward ahead of Quigley. Gay goes with him.
And it did look like a bit of a gap was opening up, but Gay just absolutely closes that gap. Now it's Quigley's job to just hold on to the heels of Gay and keep the back of that pack of 7 together.
So Podmore and also Duncan have to watch for this as well. They've got to make sure that they can cover all the moves from that position. Bergen looking very good in that 3rd position. I think he's got a little bit more to give. Gay looking good, but starting to drift a little bit. Quickly just behind him.
Yeah, we're almost seeing that physical gap of a couple of metres between Bergen and Gay as the athletes move along that back straight. Duncan of Essendon, he goes from 7th into 4th and bridges that gap all of a sudden. Now it's Gay's job to hold on to the heels of his clubmate in Duncan and make sure Quigley and Podmore don't get left in the wake.
As I said, both Podmore and Duncan had to be watching those moves, and it was Duncan the one who had his radars out and certainly went for it. And Duncan joins the group of 4 out front. Robbie Petrie leading the way, McLaren, Bergen, then Duncan. Quigley now on the outside of Gay, Podmore on the rails, Arndt in next position.
So 3 laps to go, and we've all of a sudden got a bit of a race on our hands. It was getting a bit stale and a bit predictable in the middle stages there to call, Tim. But now we're seeing a few changes, a few people drop off. It will be very interesting to see how this last 1.1 kilometres plays out. Petrie in the lead, McLaren on his heels, Bergen and Duncan are your top four. So I'll keep an eye on the clock as they go through the 4 kilometre mark. Time of 12:39, I'd say there. So probably more on that 16-minute pace now rather than the 14:40 they were setting early on. But we are excited for the race. See who's going to take out this B under-20 state championship.
Now do remember that the A race have to beat these times as well, so they'll be checking in on what's going on in this B race. It has happened in the past that medalists have come out of B races through very brave racing. Petrie leading the way, McLaren, Bergen, Duncan. No change there. Podmore now into the next position with Quigley and also Gay. Arn still on his own as Sven comes into the home straight, and he will also be getting 2 laps to go. So we do ask once again all competitors to finish in lane 3.
And they really are going stride for stride with 700 metres to go. Duncan sort of sat off the back of each pack that he's been in. First he was sitting 7 out of 7, now he's 4 of 4. Will be very, I've got my eye on him, that's all I'm saying, Tim, as his club mate in McLaren just puts himself into the lead with 600 metres to go.
Well, I'm putting my money on Bergen at this point because he is looking strong. Petrie just drives again, though, and just keeps Bergen out from the passing move there as they come through, and they will be doing some lapping now. We're coming down to, we will be getting 500 metres out. McLaren, Petrie, Bergen, and then Duncan.
And as they collect the bell, 1 lap to go for our leaders. McLaren and Petrie are the ones battling it out. McLaren of Essendon, Petrie of Box Hill are your 1-2 as Petrie just gets up on the shoulder and passes with a bit of gusto with 300 metres to go. McLaren's job to hang on to his heels, and he's doing a great job so far.
So it looks like a race in 2, and both you and I got this one wrong because it's now Petrie versus McLaren. I can't see anyone coming over the top of them as they approach 200 metres to go. Petrie made the move. McLaren's hung on to him like glue, and this is going to be a good finish because it's going to be a battle of wills, a battle of strength over 200 metres. Petrie leading, McLaren just trying to run him down.
And what a battle we have. 120 metres to go. Petrie, McLaren, Box Hill versus Essendon. As they enter the home straight for the final time, McLaren gets up on the inside, Petrie on the outside. It's a ding-dong battle going into the final straight.
Oh, I
and
think
it
McLaren
seems like McLaren just dipped
good
on
time.
the line.
They've come in under the 15:40 mark, so that was a very good last kilometre. Bergen's come through next, then Duncan. Good finish from Podmore. He'll just the wrong side. He's about 15:50. Quigley, also Gay. They'll be both under the 16-minute mark. So some great racing there. Good to see Petrie now congratulating the other competitors. So too McLaren. But what a dip finish that was. We need Arn to finish in lane 3 if possible.
And very, very, very strong last kilometre there. They were on track for around the 16-minute mark and ended up running 15:41.
So Fian through next for Glenn Huntley. He comes through about 16:20 on the clock. Next one will be Fulton. And then we have Jamie Edwards from Melbourne University and Rodri Whelan. And also from South Bendigo. You have the competitors still out there. Sorry, Bendigo University, Asher Miller.
So Edwards, Whelan just crossing the finish line, the athlete from Diamond Valley.
What was the time?
And Gilbert McCann coming towards the finish line now in a touch over 17 minutes. And Asher Miller of Bendigo University Athletics Club to round out the field.
So Miller crossing the line, approximately 17-17 there, but just official word from our photo finish team. The winner was hip number 14, Hamish McLaren, official winning time 15:35.19. So next up, we will go to a first of our official finals, and it will be the under-20 men. Scheduled to start at 7:35 p.m. We'll have 14 starters. So if those young men could make their way down to the finish line to be introduced to the officials, that would be appreciated. So the men's under-20 A race next on the program. Yep. Yeah, so I'll do them on start line. Yep. Yeah, so you have it. Yep. Then that's perfect. You'll see on the scoreboard. Yep. Yep. Do you want to do this one, and then I'll do the women? Now, tricky names. That's Fangmeyer. Lay. The rest are pretty straightforward. A reminder that all results will be going through to the AV Results Hub system, so just keep clicking refresh to get the updated live results here from the 2025 Athletics Victoria 5,000 metre championships. Lakeside 5. Oh, yeah, right. So we can see the competitors now making their way around to the start line. This will be the final of the men's under 20. 15:35.19 is the time to beat in that B heat. That's the time they will be chasing. So 14 young men will be towing the line. We'll introduce the field on the line, and you'll see it on the big screen as we do the intros for our final of the men's under 20.
They're going to do intros. They're going to do intros.
Yeah, so don't start to rock and sit still.
Yep.
Okay, gentlemen, up the line, please.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Apparently there will be intros.
You will be intros, guys, before we go, won't be long. You know your start line's the front curve line, gentlemen. Just make sure to start your toes on the line, not on the line. Okay, good luck everyone. Wait for the intro, gentlemen.
And competitors on the line for the men's under 20 A race. With hip number 1 from South Bendigo, Tyler Finch. Hip number 2 from Essendon, Loki Fangmeyer. Hip number 3 from Glen Huntley, Jack Lana. Number 4 from Essendon, Aidan Davis. Number 5 from Williamstown, Angus Thomas. Number 6 from Glen Huntley, Luca Sidieris. Number 7 from Wendouree, Jacob Cheeseman. Number 8 from Wellington, Riley Stewart. Number 9 from Chilwell, James Lay. Number 10 from Albury, Eddie Fransky. Number 11 from Athletic Southwest, Jared Ferguson. Number 12 from Essendon, Patrick Kavanagh. Number 13 from Box Hill, Joshua Carlin. And number 14 from New South Wales, Joel Harler.
On your marks.
So underway, it'd be interesting to see how this one pans out. Harler's come here for a good time. He's got an 8:25 from the ANSW 3K earlier this month. So the young man in the Bankstown kit will be looking for a fast time, but so too will be Tyler Finch. He wants to go hard and go fast here. It looks like they're a little bit pedestrian, Michael, as they're right across the track. So Fransky sitting out. I wouldn't be surprised if Eddie makes a little bit of a move to try and get that pace going. You can see Sidoritas in good position too, sitting about that 5th position. As we have got Jack Lana sitting right on the heels of Finch. So it is a little bit slow early. Let's see how that pans out over the next lap.
Yeah, of course, you mentioned, Tim, they do have a time of 15:35 of Hamish McLaren to beat to earn themselves some medals. So They do need to get moving a little bit towards the back end of this race. They are setting quite a relaxed pace early. All these athletes are more than capable of breaking 15:35, but it is a matter of still focusing on the time whilst battling it out for medals. So they are slightly slower than that pace, going through 77 seconds in the first 400.
I think it's Ferguson has decided he's going to take up the running now. Harler sitting in second position. I think it's Lana sitting third. Finch now on the rails. Fransky to the outside of him. But yeah, they really needed to get that time going. 15:35 wasn't looking too sweet on that first lap.
Yeah, there's tactical, and then there's maybe a bit too slow to earn themselves a state championship.
Well, there's tactical and there's stupid. So Ferguson now taking it. Harler sitting in his wake at the moment. Now Sidoritis makes a move. That was a good move by Luca. Just getting into a bit of clear space there and getting out of the ruck.
So a number of quality athletes in this field, as we mentioned, more than capable of running under 15:30, and there's about 7 or 8 of these athletes have run under 15 minutes before. Some on the road here at Lakeside 5 and some on the track posting PBs.
So 14:37 was Sidoritis' time at Lakeside 5. That was a sparkling 5K on the roads for him. We've also got 14:41 from, oh sorry, the Campbell Brooks not running, but 14:51 from Ferguson. So we've got a few sub-15s from the Lakeside 5 here. They know how to go fast. Fransky now going to the outside once again. Now it's Cheeseman. So Jacob deciding he wants to have a little bit of a go out front. So Jacob Cheeseman in the new Wendouree uniform starting to surge forward. Harler on the rails in good position. Lana in next. Fransky to the outside. He's got Lade to the inside of him. Ferguson on the rails. Fangmeyer also on the rails. And outside is Aidan Davis.
And 3:08, which is exactly the same as the first kilometre in the B race. Puts them at 15:40 pace. So they do need to get it moving just a little bit, which they will as these laps progress, as Lana finds himself in first position. Harler from New South Wales, Bankstown, just on his heels.
So Harler covering every move that happens, which is a good thing to do. You're seeing Sidoritis just drift back through the field, but I think Luke is just playing a cagey game at the moment as his teammate Lana leads them through. Stewart sitting at the rear of the field.
And it's a bit like an accordion at the moment as the athletes are strung out, then come together, strung out, then come together as they go through these laps.
So Sidoritis, I think the one who's just playing the cagey game. He ran an 8:28 at Milers Club last week over 3,000 metres, so he is in form. As we said, Harler ran an 8:25 at the ANSW 3,000 metre champs. That was earlier this month. He's in good form. Cheeseman sitting on the rails in third position. Ferguson not too far behind, and then the long legs of Lay just loping around in that fifth position.
And there's a trio of the Athletics Essendon boys in the middle. Patrick Kavanagh, Loki Fangmeyer and Aidan Davis, as I mentioned them, because they'd be looking to do what their clubmate in Charles Barrett did last year and take out the gold medal in this event. Charles, of course, did it in a time of 14:37, which they needed to put some serious burners on to emulate that time, but there's no reason why one of these boys can't find themselves in a gold medal position.
So Ferguson now sitting in that fourth position. Cheeseman still sitting third. Harler just in front of him, and Lana still setting the pace. Pace is starting to come down a little bit, but it's still quite a bunched field. Stewart at the rear of the field, and he's got Thomas from Williamstown with him, but they're still in contact. Eddie Fransky taking the long path here. I reckon he'll be running about 5.5K the way he's going. He's sitting in lane 2 to 3 for most of the journey so far. Fangmeyer not too far in front of him. Carlin just on the inside. Now we're seeing Finch try to get out. Now I think Eddie's been spurred on. He's moving forward beautifully.
And there is still a lot of back and forth in that pack. Athletes have been running out in lane 2 and 3 for this whole race. The great thing is there's no one dropping off yet. As you would expect, running at the pace they are so far. Athletes in this field more than capable of running around that mid-15 minute 5K pace, which is the tempo that they've set. In saying that, that second lap now has been a little bit quicker. So 3:08 for the first lap, 3:01 for that second lap. So probably on track for around the 15:20 rather than 15:40 that they were paced at early on.
Lana doing a good job out front, really getting that pace going, as Michael said. Went from a 3:08 to a 3:00 or 3:01. Once again, though, who's in second position? It's Joel Harler from the Bankstown Club. He has not moved from that position, protected his second position the whole way, but Sidorita sitting in fourth and looking good. Fransky just behind him. Cheeseman now dropping back through the field. Ferguson looking good in third.
And you can see Fransky's finally comfortable on the rails now. He was one of the athletes who were talking about being out in lane 2, sometimes lane 3 for parts of this race. And athletes now nicely strung out across the track, spanning about 30 metres or so, which is the biggest gap from first to last that we've seen so far in the running of this men's A under 25,000 metres. So Lana, Harler. Your top two still. Ferguson in the mix. Fransky of Albury sitting pretty in fifth position. Davis from Essendon.
Now, Lana's got a PB of 15:03, so he does know how to run a fast 5,000 metres, and we're seeing him doing a beautiful job sitting around that 3-minute K pace now and feeling comfortable. Harlan now going with him as we're seeing a little bit of a gap. Will Sidoritas check that gap? And I think he will as he comes alongside Ferguson.
So it does look, obviously, they're increasing that pace there, and there's a gap all of a sudden, probably ticking just under that 3-minute per K tempo. Very different to the 3:08 they set early on in this first lap, and they are absolutely making it a race.
It is becoming quite a good race now, and everyone's having their little dip. It's Lana, though, who's made all the moves out front, with Harla checking every possible position. Sidoritas is now back by about 10 metres, so it's going to be interesting to see if Luca does just start to put the foot down and try to bridge that gap through the mid-stages of this race.
With almost 3 kilometres ticked by, we'll get another read on the clock and get to really see what pace these athletes are running. They went through the first 2K in 6:09, so we're at a 9:07, which means they've done the 2:58 for that last kilometre. 3:08, 3:01 and 2:58. So they are getting faster as these laps tick by. Certainly Lana and Harla at the top of the field.
Now, Thomas is the next one to make the move. The Williamstown athlete don't have a lot of form on Angus. He's got a 15:34, so he's running well in advance of that at the moment as they start to really kick this race down. But the gap is probably going out to 35 metres. Sidoritas in next position with Eddie Fransky just behind him. A little bit of a move there. I think that might be Carlin starting to come through. But out front, racing 2 at the moment. The gap starting to build. Thomas working hard to try and bridge it. Fransky now makes a bit of a move on Sidoritas.
So it is still a real good battle for the minor medals there with Thomas, Fransky, Sidieris from Glen Huntley. But as we said, there's still, as you can see, there's still a 30 to 40 metre gap at the head of the field with Lana and our visitor from Bankstown, New South Wales, in Harla.
So 1 mile to go. The last 4 laps here. Fransky alongside Thomas. Fangmeyer's now starting to make a move. Riley Stewart was sitting at the back much of the journey, but Riley from Wellington now starting to come into that chase pack and assert himself and getting right behind Sidoritas, Carlin just to the side of him. So it's Victoria versus New South Wales out front. Obviously, Joel Harler not eligible for the Victorian 5,000 metre champs, but he would love to take a few Victorian scalps, and he's doing that at the moment. But I reckon Lana's just taking the pace up again. Harler checks it and goes with him, and that gap's still probably growing. Fransky, Fangmeyer. Big run from Lockie Fangmeyer last week at Milers Club. He's in that next position. It looks like we've lost one of the competitors. I think Lay might be out at the moment.
So Fransky, it's still 3 laps to go. And Fransky and Fangmeyer in 3rd and 4th positions now. They're not falling off the pace all that much. I don't know if Lana and Harler are extending their lead as much as they did a couple of laps ago. They're looking very strong, and they've got each other for support out the head of the field. But Fransky and Fangmeyer are working as a bit of a dynamic duo in 3rd and 4th as they near 1 kilometre to go.
So I know a lot can happen in 1 kilometre, but gee, Jack Lana, I think, might have this Victorian Championship in his pocket, because going through 1K to go right now at 12:04, we'll just get fix on Fransky and also Fangmeyer as they go through at 12th. There's 9-second differential. Carlin just going alongside Sidoritis and going past him. Thomas in next position, then Stewart. But it is Jack Lana controlling the pace. But I think Harler really just sitting on the shoulder now and might be ready to make a move. He sat in 2nd position virtually the whole way as we come through to get 2 laps to go. Is Harler going to go for it soon? Can Lana defend that lead?
And that last kilometre was a 2:57, so they have increased their pace just a little bit on their previous kilometre there for our leaders, with 2 laps to go. Lana, Harler, a bit further back, Fransky and Fangmeyer.
Carlin in next position, probably the best run from Josh I've seen for a little while, but the Box Hill runner now clearly into that the open gap there. Thomas behind him, also Sidoritis, Stewart, then Ferguson, Finch, Davis next, then Cheeseman.
And with 600 metres to go, Harler just checks his watch, and he really creeps up on Lana's heels, almost waiting for his time to pass. He's getting very, very, very close to the back of Jack Lana there.
So coming down to hear the sound of the bell, Harler, 1 out, 1 back on Jack Lana, who's done all the work, picked up the pace, has set this race up beautifully. It's going to be a race in 2. Fransky and Fangmeyer next position. Carlin looked like he was gaining on them, but it's a bit of an unbridgeable gap, I would say, into that last lap. Harler onto the outside now. Is he going to pass on the bend or try to pass on the bend? Lana controlling the rail. Fransky and Longmire, 1 lap to go. Then Carlin. Thomas, Sidoritis, Stewart. But out front, are we going to see a pass on the back straight, or can Lana hold him off?
He's been lurking for the last 4.8 kilometres. Harler has been on the heels of Lana. Lana's been so strong at the head of the field. 200 metres to go. Harler's just trying to get up in his shoulder, and Harler's just always been that stride ahead as they pass the pole vault area. 130 metres to go. Harler's giving it everything he can, and Lana's giving it everything back to hold him off, striding towards the finish line, and Lana just extending that elastic band and almost, and I'm going to say it's going to snap, as he claims the Victorian Under-20 5,000 metre championship.
Fantastic racing from Jack Lana. Also Joel Harler, as we see Fransky coming through. He'll get the silver medal in the Victorian Championships. Lockie Fangmeyer, he'll come through to make it to the podium. But what a race that was. 15:10 there for Fransky as he goes through. Fangmeyer not too far behind. Great running there, Josh Carlin. Sidoritis in next position. Then Stewart, Thomas, Ferguson, Finch, Davis. Cheeseman in next, and then we'll have Kavanagh. But gee, what a race, Michael. I thought Harler had that 200 out, but gee, Lana just went and went again.
It looks like he was just waiting, but he didn't mean he had legs to go.
14:51.92, the official winning time there for Jack Lana from representing the Glen Huntly Athletic Club, taking out the Victorian under-20 5,000 metre championship for 2025. Next up on the program will be the final of the Women's Under-20 Victorian Championship. 12 starters, if they can make their way down to the finish line in order to be checked off by our officials. I believe we'll be doing the presentations for the men's Under-20 shortly. Testing, testing. So next event on the track will be our final of the under-20 females.
Ladies, can we have you over here, please?
photos of Rocket. Photos of Rocket. You have zeros when you're ready. Over. Copy that. Can you tell me if I left my radio in your room when I was up there earlier?
Okay, ladies, ready to go. So, station number on the line, please.
We'll have one for Rocket. We have one for Tommy. Thank you. I'll get it back up there and get it up to you shortly. It's only 3 on you.
So the competitors getting ready for our next final and championship event, which is the under-20 women's event. We will introduce the field on the line once our camera gets in position, and there they are. In Station 1, representing Sandringham, we have Elizabeth Craig. Station 2, also from Sandringham, Olivia DaCosta Alves. Serena Bryant from Glen Huntly lines up in Station 3. Next to her from Mornington Peninsula, it is Asha Morrow. Station 5 from Ballerine, Susanna Mavro-Mahalis. Station 6 from Yarra Ranges, Bridget Rice. Station 7, representing New South Wales in the Bankstown kit once again, it is Gypsy Waterson. Next to her, just been signed by US College. We will be saying farewell to Deacon's Palpi Niverovic, but she's here tonight racing 5,000 metres. Station 9 from Sandringham, we have Emily Saldana. Station 10, the defending champion, representing Frankston Athletic Club, Imogen Baker. Station 11 from Athletics Essendon, Madigan Carroll. And Station 12 from Ballarat YCW, Katrina Pryor. They are your 12 starters in the women's under-20 5,000 metres.
On your marks.
So underway, the under-20 5,000 metre final. Imogen Baker, defending champion. Winning time last year, 16:48.87 by Baker. It was in the open mixed race, so she was racing against the open 5,000 metre runners. Mavro-Mahalis, also a medalist last year. Phelan got third in that event, but it is Baker, Mavro-Mahalis. Morrow in next position. Good performance from Asha Morrow last week at Midas Club, over 3,000 metres. Bit of a gap in the pack at the moment. So one of the Sandringham runners just trying to bridge that gap with Niverovic and also Waterson in next position.
So being an A race, the women's under-20 A race, not having a B race prior, unlike the men, have no time target. So it is pure racing out there. Of course, they will be aiming for PBs here tonight. A bit of an opportunity to do so with cooler weather. But already we see a big split in the field. And a race of 2 to 3 at the very front. And a few little packs forming further back, but as we've seen many races tonight, there is a lot of toing and throwing as these 12.5 laps progress, with Imogen Baker still leading the way ahead of Susanna Mavromilaris. And Asha Morrow in that third position. So Baker, Mavromilaris and Morrow are your 1, 2, 3. Formation hasn't changed all that much since the gun. As the athletes are well and truly strung out across the track now in their 3 distinct packs.
So good strategy here from Mavromilaris, just sitting right with Baker in the early stages. A little bit of a gap to Morrow, then another gap to Elizabeth Craig from Sandringham. So big run also from Imogen at the Lakeside 5 here, where she ran 16:40 for the 5K road event. Mavromilaris by comparison, 17:38. Probably not happy with that run on the roads here at Lakeside, Susanna, because she is faster than that. She does have a 17:14 to her name. So Craig looking in good position. Madigan Carroll now making the move to lead the next grouping. That includes Nivarovic, Waterson, and also DaCosta Alves. Bridget Rice, Serena Bryant in next positions, then Saldana and Pryor.
So setting a pretty decent pace early on. Baker and Mavromilaris, 3:20 for that first K.
That's 16:40 pace, I think, Michael.
16:40 pace, setting themselves up to run, well under 17 minutes. If they can maintain, the trend has been for a couple of the early races tonight to go out hard and try and hang on. But then we've seen with the last couple of men's races, a bit of a cruisier start and a bit of a kick down. So let's see which way this goes. It's a bit harder to do the kick down with only 2 people battling it out at the head of the field.
Well, Imogen has run that 16:40 here in the Lakeside 5. It's a bit different in a road race with competitors all around. She's carving out the pace by herself. Susanna's just trying to stay there. In early stages, she's looking good. Gap then to Morrow. Craig in next position. Carroll now starting to move away a little bit from that chasing pack. And Asha Morrow looking good as she comes through to get 9 laps to go.
So Baker looking pretty comfortable, just dictating the pace at the head of the field. And Mavromilaris looking just as comfortable sitting on her heels. Now, athletes in Morrow and Craig kind of just left in the middle there without a pack to run with. Running a bit of a solo time trial at this point. It'll be interesting to see if they can end up bridging the gap at the head of the field or get caught by the athletes just behind them. And Baker's still doing her thing with 8 laps to go.
So 9:56 for Mavromilaris at Milers Club over 3,000 metres. We've just seen the gap starting to build a little bit here between Baker and Mavromilaris. But Susanna's in reasonably good form coming into this 5,000 metres. 17:14 being her personal best. Probably looking to break that here this evening. Asha Morrow, don't have a lot of form on Asha. Reasonably good run last week. Let's see how she goes over that 5,000 metre distance. As we're seeing Carroll, the one who's making the moves. Craig currently in 4th position, but Madigan Carroll running very smart. Nivarovic in next position. DaCosta Alves and Waterson with her. Break then to Serena Bryant, then Bridge Rice in next position. Saldana in next, and then Pryor. But down the back straight, that gap is really starting to form as they approach the 2 kilometre mark, right on 6:42 thereabouts. So 6:43 unofficially there. So slightly slower, so drifting away a little bit from that 16:40 pace. Now the mission here for Mavromilaris is just to maintain consistency. She's broken away as Baker. But now Susanna just has to concentrate on her race and try and go for that big PB here this evening.
Yeah, so the pace has definitely dropped a little bit at the head of the field. Baker is just maintained. Maverick Maharis is probably slipping just a little bit off her early pace set. So 7 laps to go. Baker, Mavro, Mahalis, and Asher Morrow coming through, still holding that third position as Madigan Carroll is leading the chase of these next few athletes to come through with 7 to go.
Carroll looking very strong as she comes through to get 7 laps to go. Down the back straight though, that gap is really starting to build. So Baker looking very strong, just continuing that momentum around the 320 per kilometre. Maverick Mahalis now in a position on her own. She's got about a 50 to 60 metre gap over Asher Morrow. And then a similar gap back to Madigan Carroll in next position.
And just in the matter of 1 lap, that gap between Imogen Baker and Susanna Mavromahalis has just extended, doubled or tripled, I'd say. So Baker just striding away. She set her own pace from the start, and she's just extending her lead lap by lap with 6 laps to go.
So into the second half of the race now is Imogen Baker, Maverick Mahalis, Asher Morrow still holding down that third position. So 6 out for Maverick Mahalis. Madigan Carroll, the big mover as we've said, and she is looking very strong as she approaches that number 6. Morrow now in her sights. DaCosta Elves next position, then Waterson just ahead of Nivarovic. Craig. Bryant looking strong as she comes down to get 6 to go.
Yeah, really loving the running by Madigan Carroll, who is in 4th position, but every time she comes past the start-finish line, looks like she is getting closer and closer to the athlete in front of her in Morrow.
So approaching the 3 kilometre mark now, Imogen Baker, Frankston, looking to go back-to-back in this under-20 championship over 5,000 metres. Had a dominant XCR season. It's been running strongly all year long, and she goes through the 3K in 10:04.
So she's holding a pretty consistent pace there, going 3:20, 3:23, and probably a 3:21 there for that most recent kilometre. So she isn't slipping off the pace at all. She's been consistent. Susanna Mavromahalis coming through the 3 kilometre mark now. Probably has slipped a little bit as the race has progressed, but still in the frame to run a quite quick time here at Lakeside Stadium if she hangs on over these last 5 laps. Asher Morrow coming past now, 3K mark as she just checks her watch. 5 laps to go for Asher Morrow. And Madigan Carroll is next through, followed by Olivia DaCosta Alves and Gypsy Waterson.
So Serena Bright now coming through. 3 kilometres. Craig in next position, then Saldana. Bridget Rice from Yarra Rangers next position. And then it'll be Pryor from a YCW. But coming through now, 4 laps to go, approaching the mile distance now for Imogen Baker from Frankston. Standout performance, she's now up by about 110 metres over Maverick Mahalis from Ballerine. 3rd, still Morrow. There are still fairly big gaps here. It looks like Carroll was making the move, but now we're seeing DaCosta Elves and Waterson start to run her down in the final stages. Maverick Mahalis now 4 laps out. So I don't think we'll see the close finish that we had in the men's race, Michael, but it's still interesting to see just how quickly Imogen Baker can go, and can Susanna Mavromichalis hold on there for a PB? 17:14 is, according to my results, the best she's done. Asha Morrow, fairly new to the 5,000 metre distance, currently in third position. Carroll next. DaCosta, Alves and Waterson are working really nicely together. They've got 4 laps to go.
So 3 laps to go for Imogen Baker.
So 1,200 metres out now, Baker approaching that last kilometre. So Michael will do his calculations as she goes through the 4K mark. See if she's still on that 16:40 schedule thereabouts.
Because if you go to nationals, they'll pull you up on it.
So Susanna Mavromichalis coming through with 3 laps to go. And Asha Morrow, 3 laps to go, 1,200 metres left. And this little pack of 3 still holding pretty solid. No real lead changes here from Carroll to Costa Alves and Waterson. They are still a little trio here in 4th, 5th and 6th position.
So it's like clockwork for Imogen Baker. She is in great form. She is so strong in this 5,000 metres. She's coming through now to get 2 laps to go. So 2 to go for Baker. That's 3 to go for Bryant. So 2 to go. Susanna Mavromichalis representing the Ballerine Athletic Club. Asha Morrow now into the home straight 2. I don't think there'll be any challenging here as we go into the last 800 for these 3 spots on the podium. Imogen Baker so strong out front. She's leading this race quite easily. She comes around into the home straight for the last, excuse me, for the last time. So she's 500 metres out. Asha Morrow, Mornington Peninsula, still holding that 3rd position. She's got a good break over DaCosta Alves. It's about 70 to 80 metres. Gypsy Waterson hasn't moved from that position. She's let DaCosta Alves do all the work out front, and now Carroll, they've just gone past her. So Baker, 1 to go.
And it looks like Imogen Baker is putting the burners on now, heading for a time of that sub 16:40. She's been on track for it all race. She's been consistent, and you can see her legs are getting faster and faster as she's moving down the back straight past the Athletics Victoria flags. T 200 metres to go as the clock ticks over 16 minutes for Imogen Baker, who has done it solo, almost from gun to tape.
So Susanna Mavromichalis, here's the sound of the bell, kicks it down. She'd love to get a PB here tonight. Time check, well, it's not really time checking on us at the moment. And Asha Morrow, she'll come through as we see Imogen Baker coming through, finishing in lane 3. 1 to go for Morrow. She's in 3rd position. As Imogen Baker comes through, what a performance. Another great run from Imogen, taking another Victorian State Championship. Back-to-back in the under-20s. DaCosta, Alves and Waterson, 1 to go, then Carroll. So Maverick Mahalis coming around the top bend last time. Morrow 200 metres out. These will be our silver and bronze medalists here in the Under-20 Women's Championship for 2025. Strong finish here from Susanna. Out into lane 3, and it will be our silver medalist 2 years in a row. Susanna Mavromahalis will take the silver medal in the Under-23 5,000 metres for Victoria. And Asha Morrow into lane 3, Asha. So Morrow, big finish from her, good strong running all the way, and Asha Morrow will take the bronze medal in the 5,000 metres. That rounds out our podium here.
And the battle continues back and forth as Gypsy Waterson puts herself into 4th for the first time as she crosses the line ahead of DeCosta Alves of Sandringham.
So Madigan Carroll, good through those mid-stages. Just faded slightly over the last kilometre, but another good run there from Madison Carroll, representing Athletics Essendon. So Poppy Nivarovic from Deakin will be the next one through. She's got Serena Bright chasing her down. Looks like Poppy will just hold Serena out. So Nivarovic next through, then Bryant. Emily Saldana from Sandringham, next one through. Bridget Rice, Yarra Rangers, in next position. And Elizabeth Craig from Sandringham crossing the line now. And Katrina Pryor rounding out our field in the very competitive women's under-20 event. So next event on the track will be the Men's Open 5,000 metre championship, but before we go to that, we will be doing our presentations for the under 20 females. So in third position, receiving the bronze medal in a time of 17:43.65, representing Morning Peninsula, Asha Morrow. In second position, our silver medalist in time of 17:27.41, Susanna Mavromahalis, representing Ballerine Athletic Club. Now, a winner, back-to-back championships over 5,000 metres on the track, representing Frankston in a time of 16:34.43. I think that's a new personal best. Let's congratulate Imogen Baker. So congratulations to Asha, Susanna and Imogen, our medalists, and all competitors in the women's under 20 5,000 metre championship. Imogen Baker, we were thinking you probably weren't going to break 16:40 there, but what a kick down. 16:34, new personal best over 5,000 metres. You must be pretty happy with that finish.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I mean, my coach has been setting me up to do like a faster 5K, so I'm really happy to get it done. My first track race since Nationals, so a little nervous to come back, but I was really happy with just how that whole race went.
A good grounding over the XCR series, though. That obviously gives you the strength coming into the new track season. So what are you setting your sights on for this year and this season?
Yeah, 100%. Cross country really helped me, just like learning everything. And then, yeah, I'm looking after this. There's a good hit out before Stromlo next week, cross country trials. And then Zatopek is like the next big goal. And then hopefully some world teams as well.
A big season ahead of you. Imogen, and well done taking your back-to-back championship.
Thank you.
Taking your back-to-back championship.
Thank you.
I've got the green arrows. Green lights. Yes.
I know you didn't let us bang, it probably is good. I know you didn't let us bang, it probably is good as backing.
Gentlemen, it's a 7.5 lap race. No surprise to you on that. I do ask
12 and a half.
12 and a half, whatever. I do ask that you finish in lane 3. Finish in lane 3 when you finish.
And competitors are on the track for the men's A 5,000 metre Victorian Championships with hip number 1 from Essendon, Charles Barrett. Hip number 2 from Western Athletics, Zaid Al-Sayed. Hip number 3 from St Kevin's, Will Lewis. Number 4 from Casey Cardinia, Lachlan Hurd. Number 5 from Western Athletics, Cash Money, Liam Cashin. Number 6 from Box Hill, Alistair Christie. Number 7 from Eureka, Benjamin Stevens. Number 8 from Mentone, Sam Bunnage. Number 9 from Knox, Matthew Patton. Number 10 from South Melbourne, Johannes Dagnor. Number 11 from New South Wales, Liam Hinchcliffe. Number 12 from Eureka, Ben Ludbrook. Number 13 from Sandringham, Will Garbelotto. Number 14 from Diamond Valley, Caden Murray. 15 from Box Hill, Peter Green. 16 from Queensland, Callum Davies. 17 from the Yarra Rangers, Harry Norman. 18 from Casey Cardinia, Lucas Chiss. 19 from Old Scotch, Tom Bowers. And to round out the field, number 20 from Old Scotch, Benjamin Baisha. Over in the hands of the starters.
We're just waiting for the people at the finish line. On your marks.
So underway in the 74th running of the Victorian 5,000 metre championship for men. Last year's winner, Matt Buckle from Bendigo Uni, in a great time of 13:49.46. Victorian record holder, the very, very great Craig Mottram from Deakin, 12:55.76, set in 2004 in London. Championship record set by Andy Baddeley in 2010 of 13:20.85, and the Victorian Championship, a record for a Victorian, 13:30.96, set by Darren Lynch from Deakin. So Tommy Bowers leading the way, Michael, setting up reasonable pace. Looks like Stevens and Ludbrook, the two Eureka runners. Then Baisha, Dagnor in next position. Davies, I think, then work his way through the field. Garbaloto just to the rear of him.
So a class field, and would expect them to pretty much stick together for the opening kilometre or two as they get themselves sorted. Some athletes towards the back of this field who will probably find themselves further towards the front as the laps progress, but it's still early stages in this men's 5K A event, the Championship of Victoria.
So the wind's still swirling around a little bit here at Lakeside Stadium, but has come off a little bit as we see the Scotch figure there of Bowers, former Victorian under-20 champion. You'd love to add that senior title to his list of achievements and accomplishments.
These athletes probably glad to get running here this evening to get out of this cold and get their bodies moving as they go through the first 600 metres. Callum Davies, probably a race favourite, sitting there just comfortably in sixth position. He's made his trip down from Queensland to be greeted by this classic November Melbourne weather.
Bowers just stretching it out a little bit there. Baisha now making a good move to come alongside Ludbrook, probably exchanging a little bit of movement there. Dagnor, interesting one, South Melbourne colours, the Australian under-20 cross-country champion up in Ballarat in emphatic fashion. And he's got Davies just right behind him at the moment. But out front, no real change as Bowers setting the pace. Looks like Ludbrook in next position, Baisha, Dagnor.
And somebody else who was in that under-20 race, Charles Barrett, has made his way just a bit further up the field just to get right on the heels of Dagnor. So he finds himself in fifth position there. So Dagnor and Barrett having a few great battles over the past couple of years, and they are sitting in fourth and fifth in this men's 5,000 metre A race. So Bowers, Ludbrook, Baisha, Dagnor, Barrett, Murray. So no one's fallen off the back and no one's charged out the front of this peloton. They're still in a big pack. Garbaloto, the athlete from Sandringham, just getting up on the shoulder of Barrett and passing him to get himself in the better position. His plan is probably just sit on the heels of Davies as he gets himself into fourth. So a bit of a change in positioning, but the pack is still well and truly thick at the head of it.
So making a bit of move there, Lucas Kish. He's after, there's a couple of times we've got to have on top of our minds during this event. 14:07, Sam Clifford's Australian under-18 record, and 14:09 is the Victorian record. So Kish, maybe not on target at the moment, but we know he's got a big kick. He's very fast over the 1500, and we can see he's positioned himself well. Just a little bit out on Garbaloto at the moment, running the wide course, but he's getting clear space out there as Bowers still leads from Ludbrook, Baisha, Davies, Garbaloto, Dagnor, Kish, then Barrett. Norman running well. Caden Murray just to the inside of him. Then you've got Ben Stevens and also Lockie Hurd. Liam Cash in next position, Alzaid in next. Then Patton, Hinchcliffe. So Bunnage in next position. But they're well strung out.
And we talked about some athletes sitting back in the field who will probably be figuring towards the front of it as the laps progress, and Liam Cashin being one of them. He's placed quite well at these championships over the years, and his clubmate in Zaid Al Sayed gets better by the race. I think he PBs in almost every race that he does. So keep an eye on the two Western athletes who are sitting in about 9th and 10th at this stage, but they're looking comfortable as ever.
So as Al Sayed, as we say, a multiple national record holder for Lebanon. Big part of the Western Athletics XCR team this year and third in the Melbourne Marathon 10K. Barrett's in good position. He's just stalking Kish at the moment. Garbaloto to the inside. Davies, the race favourite, sitting in 4th position, approaching the 2 kilometre mark. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a change soon, because they will be getting a little bit antsy about the time. And as say that, you see Dagnor just starting to move his way forward. Often hangs back in a race and really pounces late, but we're seeing Johannes Dagnor, the South Melbourne runner, now moving into 3rd position. Davies responds immediately.
So these little moves are made, and there's always some 1 or 2 or 3 people to respond instantly.
So 5:43 at the 2 kilometre mark. Remember those times, 14:07 and 14:09 for Kish to be chasing that under 18, or the 2 under 18 records. Bowers still leads. 2 kilometres, Tommy Bowers has led the way for Scotch. Ludbrook's been sitting in good position there, not too far behind. Kish in good spot now. Caden Murray to the outside. Big run from Caden last week at Milers to smash his 3K PB. Now we have a change. Ludbrook takes it. Dagnor just takes the foot off the pedal, and that causes a little bit of confusion as they start to bunch up.
And as per a couple of previous races, we have people running A in lane 2, lane 3, so try and find their position. A bit over 2 kilometres in, and they're still toing and froing in the pack as Davies tries to make his way back into a comfortable position. Barrett tries to come on his inside. Dagnor is still right there. Murray, all the big players now. As a few athletes just drop off the back. Green, Bunnage, is finding the pace a little bit too hot at this stage, 2.5 Ks in.
Good to see Kish, one of those who's really starting to push that pace forward. So the pressure on Ludbrook now to really keep moving and moving at good pace in this championship race. So we are looking at time, but we're also looking at championship positions. Obviously, Cal Davies won't be vying for that Victorian champs, but we have some very good talent out there looking for that gold medal in the 74th running of this event.
So Ludbrook still leading the way. Bowers on his heels. Chiss, Davies, Dagnor, Barrett, Garbaloto from in the Sandringham uniform. Looking pretty strong there as well, not letting anyone get too much distance ahead of him. Cashin, right on the heels of Barrett. Everyone who wants to be in the medals is still right there in that front pack. Chopping and changing of positions and pacing has been unbelievable so far across the first 6 laps of this race. It is really going to come down to the last few to decide those final positions, maybe even the last 1 or 2, Tim.
So approaching the 3 kilometre mark now. Looking at the time, just over the 8:30 mark. So this is comfortable for a lot of these runners. I think big times are now out the door because they've only got 5 laps to go to try and make up the deficit from early on. We're seeing Cashin and Alzade starting to make their way around the side. Lockie Hurd just sitting at the rear of the field. Good to see Harry Norman back in form, the 2023 winner of this event from Yarra Rangers. But it's Ben Ludbrook still leading the way. Tom Bowers, our early leader, sitting in 2nd. Kish in 3rd. Then we've got 2 of our favourites in Dagnor on the rails and Davies to the outside of him. Garbaloto's running very well tonight.
And everyone seems to just be settling in the pack, although 4.5 laps to go. It is getting towards the pointy end. Ludbrook, Bowers, Chiss, Dagnor, Davies, still in your top 5. Cashin starts to come around the outside of Davies and Dagnor. trying to put himself into prime position.
It's probably a lot more still together at 4 laps to go than I would have thought. Now it's Ben Stevens who starts to make his move. So if Kish wants that time, he's really got to make a move soon. That last 4 laps will be vital. Patton sitting at the back. His training partner Hurd not too far in front of him. It's getting pretty messy out there because the bodies are still together. The pace really needs to kick down.
These athletes for the pace to start increasing, just so everyone has a bit of space out there. It is so congested, people running 2 or 3 wide on the track and positions chopping and changing. Chiss starting to get on the shoulder, almost fighting for that first position, get it back from Stevens. So he passes Ludbrook. Bowers still the tall figure in the red Scotch uniform. 3rd or 4th position. All the big players are still there. Murray just slightly dropping off the back, finding the pace a little bit hot. Dagnor comes around the shoulder and
so Dagnor makes the first of the big moves. Garbelotto covers him. What's Davies going to do? He goes too. So Dagnor goes but then slows it down again. So some interesting tactics out here. Now Cashin decides to go. Dagnor can't play with this field too much. There's a lot of quality. There's a lot of speed.
And for the first time, Callum Davies puts himself into the leading position, and Cashin, who was sitting about 11th, 12th, 13th early on, puts himself on the heels of Davies. He knows that he is the one to beat, and he is in that prime position to just sit as Chiss wants to join the party up ahead, as does Barrett as well. So much chopping and changing in this race.
So Davies on the inside there. Kish still in contention. Barrett twice won the under-20 championship. Gee, it'd be good if he could then in that 3rd year take the Open championship here. Dagnor, as I said, has been playing around with the field, but now he's got to get serious 2 laps out. This is where it's really going to kick down. So Kish, Dagnor, Barrett leading the way. Cashin on the rails, Garbelotto still in the mix, so too El Said. Ludbrook chasing, so too Norman and Baisha, and Bowers and Hurd.
2 laps to go, and all the names are still in the mix. Dagnor just passes or gets up on Barrett's shoulder. Davies still in that commanding position out the front. Who is going to have the legs over the last 1.5 laps? Cashin's still there, Chiss still there. Garbelotto has been in the mix the whole race and he's doing a lot of work to hang on to the back of the front field. There's just a bit of a gap from Baisha, Al-Zaid and Bowers further back, but Davies still leading the way, 1.5 laps to go.
So it looks like a group of 5 now starting to make the split here. This is where our medals are going to come from. Kish to the outside. He's got Dagnor with him. Lots of excitement as we approach the bell. Davies controlling the pace from the inside, but it's Dagnor who has a look around and says, I'm going to go from here. Barrett's still in good position. So too is Cashin. 5 in it.
Who's going to have the 400-metre speed at the end of a hard 4.6 kilometres. Davies in prime position, but the rest are just lining up to pass him. Dagnor, Barrett, Chiss and Cashin in that order. Chiss up on the shoulder of Barrett, almost boxed in there, finding himself in a hard position.
And Barrett's the one that makes the move. Barrett and Davies going for it. You've also got Dagnor in the mix there. Kish having the legs run out of him at the moment, but it's a big battle out front. Dagnor to the outside of Davies. Barrett, has he got anything left to challenge Dagnor for that Victorian Championship? But into the home straight they come the last time. Davies leading the way. Dagnor battling on. It is on. Cashin coming over the top, but Davies looks like he will take the championship, but it'll be the Victorian champs here for Dagnor. Close race. Look at the time because we've got Kish looking for that record. 14:07, 14:09. Great racing. Callum Davies take it. Dagnor. Then we have Cashin. We'll wait on the times for Lucas Kish. A big run. They really kicked that down beautifully, but hats off to Callum Davies. Controlled that race beautifully. But Johannes Dagnor from South Melbourne looks like he'll take his first Open title here, Michael. What a run.
Huge run. And what a race. They just kept us guessing the whole way. Right up until that final lap. Last year we had an unbelievable race in with Matthew Buckle taking out the win ahead of Isaac Heen and Hafter Strinzos. Some big names back this year.
So next event on the track will be our final of the Victorian Open Women's Championship. So if we can have all competitors reporting in to our starting officials. So just checking times on Results Hub and subject to verification, but Lucas Kish may well have broken both the Victorian and the Australian under-18 records this evening. 14.06.76 for Lucas Kish. So another big run from the young man from Casey Cadinia. We'll be doing presentations soon, so we'll need Cal Davies, also Johannes, Liam and Charles out to presentation area. But we'll be getting underway with our females fairly soon.
was just confirming number 3 was a DNF. DNF or DNF? Which for me? DNF, Freddie. Perfect, thank you.
So let's go to our presentation for the Men's Open 5,000 metre championship, the 74th running of this event. Receiving the bronze medal in the Victorian Championship in a time of 14:03.49. Representing Athletics Essendon, Charles Barrett. The silver medalist, once again, representing Western Athletics in time of 14:01.82. Let's congratulate Liam Cashin. He'll get a laurel wreath one day. The gold medalist in the Victorian State Championship in a time of 14:01.40, representing South Melbourne Athletic Club, Johannes Dagnor. And our gold medalist and winner of the event in the time of 14:00.78 from Queensland, Callum Davies. So congratulations to Charles, Liam, Johannes, Callum and all of the competitors in the 74th running of the Men's Open 5,000 metre Championship of Victoria. And we'll now go to the start of our women's 5,000 metres. If we can get our camera on that event. So as our cameraman dashes over, the girls are waiting patiently. So let's introduce our field, the 33rd running of the Victorian Open Women's 5,000 metre Championship. In Station 1, representing Western Athletics, the Victorian 1,500 metre champ, Danae McGrail. Station 2, representing Sandringham, Charlotte Garbelotto. In 3, from Williamstown, Chloe Phelan. In Station 4, representing Melbourne University, Katie Goodge. Station 5, from Sandringham, Saskia Lloyd. Station 6, representing Sandringham, Alice Oakley-Kerr. In 7, from Williamstown, the World Cross Country representative, it is Alexandra Schultz. In 8, from the ACT, we welcome Kirsty Beattie. Station 9, from Box Hill, Ashley Tragus. In 10, from Coburg Harriers, Stephanie Kelly. Station 11, from Melbourne University, Adoette Vaughan. In 12, recently back from getting a bronze medal in the World Championship, Para Championships in New Delhi. Let's welcome back to Melbourne from Old Severians, Annabelle Coleman. In 13, representing New South Wales, Allegra McGiven. In 14, from Wellington Athletics, Ali Metcalf. 15, World Uni representative for Australia, we welcome from Athletics Essendon, Bianca Puglisi. In 16, representing the Deakin Athletic Club, Karen Blaney. 17, from Box Hill, Isabel Hume. In 18, from Sandringham, Mia Rue. In 19, from Eureka, Catherine Dowie. And in Station 20, representing Yarra Rangers, Olivia Twining. 20 starters in the Women's Open, 5,000 metres.
On your marks.
So 2024, Amy Robinson took this title out representing Mansfield in 16:10.77. The Victorian Open record, newly set in 2025, Georgia Griffith from Box Hill, 14:32.82 set in London. Championship record, the great Eloise Wellings ran 15:16.60 in 2006, while the Victorian Championship record via Victorian from Athletics Essendon and across the Olympian in the year 2000, 15:20, 78. So McCrell, also Dowie leading the way at the moment. Rue on the rails. I think that's McGiven out to the side of them. So quite a strong contingent of the Sandringham girls just sitting in the mid-pack at the moment. Phelan sitting middle of the pack as well. Sally Metcalf in the very distinctive Wellington colours mid-pack too.
And much like the men's race we've just seen, the women are settling into a pace early as one big bunch, only 20 metres or so separating first to last. As our visitor from New South Wales in Allegra McGiven is leading the way. Ahead of Catherine Dowie of Eureka.
So a few of the favourites responding to that little charge there, Michael. So McGiven just put it down and automatically Dowie went with her. Then Puglisi, also Callie. I think Rue's in that next position. Saskia Lloyd also up there. Seeing Isabel Hume just making a little bit of a move through the midfield as well. So most of the big names are up front right now. So the 2 laps down, around the 2:40 mark thereabouts for the 800. So sitting on around, I don't know, 16:40 pace thereabouts, but I think it will start to speed up. As we see McGiven doing a good job, and she's really stretching that field out now. So she's obviously come down from New South Wales and wants a time. So she's forcing that pace, making the others chase, and there is some quality behind her. So Dowie had an excellent XCR season. Bounced back last week with a good 3,000 metres at Milers Club. Just narrowly beaten by Tess Kersop-Cole. Puglisi sitting on the rails, Kelly the outside, then Rue, Lloyd, Hume, then Blaney. Schultz in next position, then McCrell. Oakley, Kerr, then Twining.
So McGiven really setting the pace out the front as the thick pack just starts to stretch out a little bit, and a few very minor gaps are starting to form. That big pack of about 12 athletes is just starting to split into two as we go through the first 1,200 metres of this 5,000 metre event. So McGiven, Dowie, Puglisi, still first, second and third at this stage.
McGiven, Dowie, Callie, Puglisi, then Rue. Hume in good position. So on form, we were looking at the likes of Callie, now wearing the Coburg Harriers kit. She's got a 16:04 from the Lakeside 5 here. Also a 16:20 for 5K on the track. Not far behind her though, Hume's got a 16:22 on the track as well.
And just as we thought that big pack was starting to split into two, they're just not quite yet. So those last 5 athletes are still just hanging on to that front pack of 6 or 7 athletes. But McGivern been leading from the first couple of 100 metres over the next 4 laps. Just finding that tempo, nice relaxed rhythm, looking very comfortable at the head of the field. And the other athletes behind her are lining up and letting her do it.
So nice little move from Annabelle Coleman there. As I said, bronze medalist over the 1500 in New Delhi at the World Para Champs, going 1 place better than the 4th at the Paralympics in Paris. So she's running so well over the 1500, stepping up back into the 5,000 metres where she is relatively comfortable. Just ahead of McCrell at the moment, but out front no change. McGivern, Puglisi, Kelly. Sorry, Dowie, then Kelly, Puglisi. Humes moves herself up nicely, just ahead of Rue. Then Lloyd, Blaney, Schultz. And then Coleman's joined in that lead pack and just about to go alongside Alex Schultz. So they're into the 3rd kilometre now. McGivern still leading the way, the New South Welsh woman. The pack content to just sit behind her for the moment. Kelly looking strong in the red colours of Coburg. Dowie, as I said, a good run last week. 9:35 over 3 kilometres. Catherine Dowie last week. A few newies in the Melbourne Uni squad, a few of the overseas students coming across. And Katie Goodge being one of those. She's got a 17:38 from June 2025. So Katie Goodge, she's wearing hip number 4, I believe. She's moving very nicely mid-stages. So Tragus and Phelan coming through to get 7 laps to go, but no real change out front.
Yeah, still quite a tightly bunched row of athletes at the head of the field. And unlike the men's race, not all that much changing in the minor positions. Callie almost getting up on the shoulder of Dowie, but maybe that's just an optical illusion from this area on the track. McGivern, Allegra McGivern of New South Wales, still leading the pack around. Callie just getting out into lane 2 almost, up on the shoulder of Dowie, getting a little bit impatient. Annabelle Coleman just getting up on the shoulder of Rue. So just as I said, there's no change in the minor placings. There are a few athletes here who are starting to look a little bit impatient, just looking to push the pace a little bit. So McGivern, Dowie, Callie. I just get the sense that something's about to happen. Maybe a bit of a lead change. Puglisi still there. Isabel Hume, the athlete from Box Hill, looking strong. And approaching the 3 kilometre mark. 2 Ks to go, and it is still a thick pack of these leading women here in the Victorian 5,000 metre championships. McGivern, Dowie, Callie, Hume, Puglisi. So as these laps have progressed, the pack has just started to only bunch up rather than extend. There is 11 athletes in this front pack, and they are lining up behind Allegra McGivern, who has been setting a great tempo for the first 3.2 kilometres of this 5K race. Callie looks like she's almost about to do something up on the shoulder of Dowie. Is it going to be decisive or not? We'll see in the next 100 metres or so. Or is she just comfortable? Letting McGivern set the tempo. 4 laps to go, 1 mile left of running.
So we're seeing a very true championship race here as the players now start to make their moves and get their position. Steph Kelly from Coburg, Puglisi, then Hume, Rue in good position, Coleman also sitting pretty in that pack.
So Callie, Dowie, Hume, McGivern has just slid back into 4th position, but that might suit her having a bit of a rest and letting someone else set the tempo and take the lead for a couple of laps. Puglisi, Lloyd, Rue are all in the mix, all in that front pack, and it is not stretching out any further.
As I said, 16:04 for Callie in the Lakeside 5. As an invitational athlete. Good to see her in the colours of Victorian uniform here, and that is the Coburg Harriers. So Kelly leading the way. Now we're seeing a little bit of a move from Puglisi to the outside. Hume in good position. Rue still up there. Another one making a good move there, Katie Goodge in the Melbourne University colours, 17:38 this year. Coleman to the outside of her. Lloyd in good position as well. Rue on the rails. Blaney still up there for Deacon. McGivern the rear of the field. Then we have Schultz.
So a number of athletes who have been sitting back right in the middle of this pack. We probably haven't even called a couple of names in there, Tim, who might figure in these last few laps.
It's really starting to go down now. This the first launch there is from Catherine Dowie. So 3 of our top, or probably 4 of our favourites there. Gooch now starting to drift back a little bit. Blaney now deciding to make a bit of a move as well. So out front it is Dowie leading the way. The taller figure there in the red is Callie. Hume in the Box Hill uniform. Puglisi now coming alongside her. So starting to get very willing out there as we come in to the final 2 laps. So into the final kilometre here. 2 to go. Dowie leading. We saw her do this last week against Kersop Cole. She just tried to grind out that 3,000 metres with Kersop Cole just coming over the top. Can she do it here? She hasn't got an 800 metre specialist against her tonight. So can Dowie be the strength here? Callie looking good. Then Puglisi. Gap there to Hume. Goodge in next position. Then Blaney. Gap there to Lloyd. Also Rue. Then Schultz and Coleman. McGivern in next position. And then we have Beattie from the ACT, McCrell next, and then Twining. Runner free, 3 Victorians out front now, and it's still the Eureka runner in Dowie leading the way from Callie and Puglisi. Gap then to Hume.
So 1.5 laps to go. It is that race of 3 in the front. Don't discount Isabel Hume just yet, as there's only a gap of about 10 metres to make up over 600. But the athletes at the head of the field, Dowie, Callie and Puglisi, are running very, very strong with 500 metres to go.
So approaching the bell, lots of excitement, just as in the last race for the Open men. This is going to be an absolutely ripper of a last lap. Callie trying to assert herself. Taking control of the rails, though, is Catherine Dowie, and she starts to kick it down. Puglisi on the pocket there. She's sitting in a good position. Now Blaney starts to make a move. Hume just behind her and Goodge, but out front, no real change. Kelly, one out, one back in good position to launch. Has Puglisi got an extra gear? She's going to be tested 300 out, and it's on.
So Kelly, Dowie, Puglisi, you're 1, 2, 3 at this stage. Puglisi just pushing herself into that second position, getting up on the heels of Kelly, who is trying to extend her lead. 220 metres to go. Kelly, Puglisi getting a bit of a gap on Dowie now as they round the bend. 180 to go. Kelly, Puglisi, Dowie falling back just a little bit further. 150 metres left. It is going to be a real battle between these two at the front of the field.
So it looks like Kelly might have this one. She's going to come wide. Puglisi's got to chase. And of interest now is Blaney versus Dowie. And I think Blaney might have taken that third position, but it looks like Steph Kelly's going to take her first Victorian Championship. She's represented the ACT in New South Wales before, now resident in Victoria. Her first Vic champs for the Coburg Harriers. Steph Kelly takes it. Puglisi in second position. Karen Blaney for Deakin. She'll take third. Dowie will have to settle for fourth position. Nice finish there from Hume. She'll be in fifth. Rue will just come over the top of Shorts for the next position. Then Goodge and Lloyd coming through together. But great running, Steph Kelly taking out her first Victorian Open Championship, the 33rd running of this event. So another fantastic race here this evening at Lakeside, a real championship race with Stephanie Kelly from Coburg. Be a while since Coburg have won an Open Women's Championship. Might be even going back as far as Raylene Boyle, but a great run there from Steph to take it out. Could we please have one more lap scorer for our next event, which will be the men's B event? Now, we'd love to get underway with the next race, the men's B, but we need 4 more lap scorers. So if you have someone in this race, please jump the fence, come and help us out. We want to get underway and not be here till midnight. So 4 more lap scorers required to help our amazing Victorian officials who are shivering at the moment, I can see on the line. So please come over and help. 4 more lap scorers required before we get the next event underway. And just referring back to the men's Open A race, and not only was it an Australian and a Victorian record, but Lucas Kish has also got a World Junior qualifier. So let's move to the presentations for the 33rd running of the Victorian Open Women's 5,000 metre Championship. And in the bronze medal position, representing the Deakin Athletic Club in a time of 16:41.59. Let's congratulate Karen Blaney. Silver medal position in a time of 16:40.41, representing Athletics Essendon, Bianca Puglisi. And taking her first Open Victorian Championship in a time of 16:38.45, representing the Coburg Harriers, Stephanie Kelly. So congratulations to Karen, Bianca, Stephanie, and all of our competitors in the Victorian Open Women's 5,000 metres. Stephanie Kelly, congratulations. You were teasing us right throughout the XCR season, running as an invitational competitor and doing very, very well in our races. Good to see you in the Coburg uniform, and congratulations on your first Victorian Championship.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really happy to win today, and I thought it would be kind of a tactical race, so I was just tried to be patient, and yeah, I'm really happy to get the win.
Yeah, tactical race it was. There was a few moves. Like McGriven did a really good job just keeping that pace going through the mid-stages. But when the big players came out, like Bianca, and also you had Kath Dowie just really forging it out in front, must have made your job a little bit easier, just sort of tacking on and going for it.
Yeah, I kind of went to the front with maybe 4 laps to go, and then I was pretty happy when Catherine went round me again, so I could kind of just have a bit of a rest and gear up for a hopefully fast last lap.
Now, December 13 looms with the Zatopek, and you're going to step down in distance.
Yeah, I'm going to run the 3K. I definitely prefer like the 15 to sort of 5K range, so 10K is a bit long for me, but super excited to run another 3K.
Well, excited. We've got a good field assembling for that with the likes of Abby Corwell lining up. So it's going to be a great race at 3,000 metres, and we look forward to welcoming you back to Lakeside on December 13. Congratulations, Steph Kelly.
Thanks so much, Jim. Thanks.
You got a number 16 or below, back line, 17 and above, front line.
So competitors on the line for the men's B 5,000 metre event here at the Victorian 5,000 metre Championships. We will call out competitors once we are underway.
We ask that when you're finishing, finish in lane 3, please.
No, guess we won't.
Thanks, runners. We're about to go. On your marks. I thought you were going to go through everyone.
With hip number 1 from South Melbourne, we have Musa Jimeno Jegula. Number 2 from Melbourne Uni, Tim Bryant. Number 3 from Maccabi, Julian Schulberg. Number 4 from Old Scotch, Luke Nicholson. Number 5 from Chilwell, Liam Hanrahan. Number 6 from Sandringham, Tom Davron. Number 7 from Wendouree, Matthew Catterson. Number 8 from Mornington, Caelan Goldsmith. Number 9 from Chilwell, Oliver Lurie. 10 from Eureka, Joshua Johnson. Number 11 from Mentone, Sam Albertson. 12 from Western Athletics, Brandon Muscat. 13 from Wendouree, Darcy Williams. 14 from New South Wales, Alexander Shaw. 15 from New South Wales, Jack Maxwell. 16 from Western Athletics, Nathan Pearce. 17 from Knox, Matthew Venner. 18 from Glen Huntley, Oscar Gray. 19 from Keilor St Bernard's, Patrick Matthews. 20 from Mentone, Michael Kernahan. And 21 from Eureka, Ben Mornane. And to round out the field of 22 from Keilor St Bernard's, Mitchell Langbourne. And in these early stages, 1.5 laps down, it looks to be Oscar Gray from Glenn Huntley in the pale blue uniform has put himself at the head of the field, followed by Oliver Lurie and Mitchell Langbourne. So Gray, Lurie, Langbourne are your 1, 2, 3. As a mini pack starts to form at the head of the field, and a long, long, long train of athletes to follow. So these athletes look like they're running for time tonight, trying to prove that they maybe should have been in the A race or should be next time. So it doesn't seem like the tactical affair that we've seen in the previous couple of races. Seems like as the wind has maybe dropped just a little bit here at Lakeside Stadium, the athletes are putting the burners on and going for pace. We'll get a reading on that pace in about 100 metres when they go through the first kilometre. So Gray, Langbourne, Lurie, Goldsmith is in the mix as well, as is Johnston. And go through the first K in 2:53, 2 minutes 53 for the first kilometre. So well under that 15-minute mark. So it is getting quite bunched up the front in the first 5 or 6. And then we have the athletes strung across the track. Gray led from the start, 1,200 metres in, still leading. Langbourne on his heels. Lurie, Goldsmith, Johnston from Eureka. Jagula from South Melbourne. Kernahan of Mentone, run many of these races before. Muscat probably gone to a new level in this XCR season just gone by. No change in positions at this stage. Gray setting the tempo up the front. Langbourne, Lurie and Johnston, Goldsmith, all to follow. As they go through the first 4 laps of this 12.5 lap journey here at Lakeside Stadium. So the pace does look to be on here. We can tell by the way that the athletes are spreading out. Ben Mornane of Eureka is another athlete who is right up there, we haven't mentioned yet. Bryant of Melbourne Uni as well, but it's still Oscar Gray of Glenn Huntley leading the way ahead of Langbourne from Keilor St Bernard's and Lurie of Chilwell. So I'll get another read on pace as they go through, or they've just gone through the 2K in just under 6 minutes. So around the 14:30 mark, it's the early tempo that they're setting. So Gray, Langbourne, Goldsmith. So Oscar Gray, teammate of Jack Lana from Glenn Huntley, who won the under-20 race earlier today in a real battle all the way to the line. We'll see if Gray can do the same thing here in the Open B race. It almost seems like the tempo is starting to lift at the head of the field. A few athletes starting to fall off the pace at the back.
Great work by Gray, though, just maintaining that rhythm out front. Langbourne, a bit of an unknown quantity over 5K, isn't he? So it'll be interesting to see how Mitch can bring it home. Great 800, 1500 metre runner. Jagula, another one to watch for. He's just seen his training partner take out the Victorian Championship in Johannes Dagnor. So Jagula looking good, in good position. Is that Lurie in next spot there? Gee, big bunch still. There'd be, what, 13, 14, 15 potentially still in contention in this race.
So not a whole lot of lead change. Everyone's pretty comfortable in the little spots they're on, just tracking the heels of the person in front of them. As we said, still a really big bunch, which has been pretty typical of the last few races here tonight, with the exception of the women's under-20 race, which was quite strung out early on. But we've seen pack running of late.
Just to add to the Lucas Kish records tonight, it looks like Annabelle Coleman's taken a world record in her category for the 5,000 metres this evening. So congratulations, Annabelle. Really gutsy run out there once again, but looks like a new world record for Annabelle Coleman.
So 8:50 for the first 3 kilometres here, which will put them at 14:45 pace, about 14:45. 5K pace.
So 9:13 there for Bryant going through. One of our great Masters athletes in the XCR series, Tim Bryant, representing Melbourne University. Nathan Pearce, next one in front of him, not long back from the World Mountain and Trail Running Championships in Spain. So Nathan now going very flat compared to what he's used to in recent years with his mountain and trail running pursuits.
So it looks like the pack is starting to bunch up a little bit. Rather than getting strung out, they're just starting to come together. And there does look to be a little bit of a jostle or tussle for the...
So Langboard's starting to stretch it out, 1 mile to go. Goldsmith also makes a move. Josh Johnson from Eureka. And then Jagula's on the rails. Kernahan not far away from him. Also Wagner from Melbourne University.
So Langbourne leading the way now with Goldsmith, the athlete from the Mornington Peninsula, on his heels. Trying to just extend and challenge those behind. And there are a few athletes just dropping off the pace now since Langbourne, the traditionally 8:15 specialist, has put the foot down.
So Gray into 3rd position there. He's got Johnson just off the back of him and Wagner. Then Catterson, Kernahan. Apologies, that's not Caddison, that's the other Wendouree runner, and that's Darcy Williams. Big run from Darcy last week as well at Sandringham. So Darcy Williams, don't know a lot about this one, but another good find out of Wendouree because he's sitting beautifully in that pack. But out front, Langbourne, very impressive over 5,000 metres so far. Coming through to get 2 laps to go. So that's his favourite distance, the 800. He'll feel comfortable here. Cal Goldsmith's just got to now try and hang on and see if he's got the wheels. Looks like he wants to go past here, and I think Goldsmith is trying to get past, but now we're seeing a lot of the moves, and Williams is the first one to make the move out of the chase pack. Now Mornane, the tall figure from Eureka. Mornane chases Williams. Wagner in next position, then Kernahan. So Goldsmith takes the lead.
It's going to be a bit of a battle now of that speed of Langbourne and the durability of Goldsmith. Who can do it under fatigue? We know Langbourne is quick over the 800, but can he do it after already running 4.2 kilometres?
And don't be surprised if the likes of Williams and Mornane start to bridge that gap as well, because they are starting to make up ground down the back straight.
So 600 metres to go, 1.5 laps. Goldsmith, Langbourne. They are going toe-to-toe over this last 500. And that gap behind them just seems to be bridging a little bit. Not sure if 400 metres will be enough to close it unless they do something special as Langbourne goes up on the shoulder and passes Callan Goldsmith with a bit of authority as they're about to collect the bell, 400 metres to go.
So Mornane taking the next position, Maxwell, also Williams in there and Wagner. Gap then to Kernahan, but it's still a race in 2 because we've had the switch of the lead once again, but can Langbourne break Goldsmith down the back straight? Looks like he's attempting to do just that. So Langbourne just stretching it out, but Goldsmith responds beautifully. Now Mornane's getting those long legs going, and he's also looking very strong in this B race. But it will be Langbourne leading into that last 200 metres.
And he's took to the lead a few laps ago, waited, and when he has, he's made his move. In the final straight, Langbourne charges ahead of Goldsmith. Mornane doing all he can to get into a silver medal position, and he might just do it. But Langbourne is stretching his lead, and he's going to be the one to take out the 5,000 metres B division here at the Victorian Championships.
So Goldsmith just hangs on to second over Mornane. Then it'll be Williams next, around the 1440 mark. Then Wagner, Maxwell in next position. Kernahan and Gray hit the line virtually together. Next one through there will be Hanrahan. Also Lurie. Muscat through next there. So some big runs. Looks like Tom Davern from Sandringham also through, followed by Schulberg. And Jagula coming through. Caddison in next position. So Luke Nicholson will be next. Then Tim Bryant from Melbourne Uni. Clicking on to about 15:27 now for Bryant. And Nathan Pearce from Western A's.
Very tired looking Nathan Pearce, just come back from running a few trails over snow-capped mountains in Queensland, living a tough life.
So that concludes our very exciting B race, taken out by Mitchell Langbourne from Keolis and Bernards. So official winning time for Langbourne, 14:32.07. So 3 more lap scorers required, please, for our final event here. 3 more lap scorers required. Thank you. So just another yell out for lap scorers. We would like to get underway fairly soon.
Anyway, last one for me. 2 weeks away from each other. Yeah, apparently.
Right here, the runners are approaching you. If you can, get them on the line. Get going.
We got in this race, mate.
So competitors preparing themselves now for the final event of the evening. It's the men's C 5,000 metres. We will introduce the field once they are on the line. So 17 starters in the men's C 5,000 metres, and they are in Station 1 representing Melbourne University, Jerry Stamoulis. Next to him, his teammate in Station 2 is Anamo Skalfan. Alan Vernal from Athletics Nunawading in Station 3. Station 4 representing Melbourne University, Chris Monks. Station 5 from Ringwood, Benjamin Grant. Station 6 representing Collingwood Harriers, Abdi Robley. Station 7 from Melbourne University, Max Ueda. In 8, also from Melbourne University, Lewis Bonifoy. In 9, representing Maccabi, Jared Zukovsky. Station 10, representing Melbourne University, Noah Callett. Station 11 from Deakin, Jackson Lynch. Station 12 from Melbourne University, Quentin Raffray. Station 13 from Box Hill, Sam Dipnell. In 14, also from Melbourne University, Corey Harrop. Station 15 from Collingwood Harriers, Stephen Simmons. 16 from Mentone, Baden Mooney. And station 17 from Maccabi, Nicholas Hershen. They are your starters in the men's C 5,000 metres.
On your marks. Bye, Pan. See you, mate. See ya. See you sometime. December. Real Zatapac.
So we're looking seed times around the 15:15 mark here, so we'd expect them to go through, just tick over the 3-minute mark for that opening kilometre. Looks like Hershen leading the way early. My apologies, that's just Zukovsky leading the way. Now the Melbourne University runner taking the lead, so they'll need to set a reasonably rapid pace at the moment. You can see Robley, and also I think that's Vernal, rear of the field at the moment, just biding their time early on. I think that might be Calfan leading the way early on in this event. So you can see Box Hill runner there just starting to make his way through. That's Sam Dipnell sitting in 3rd position, just off the back of Zukovsky. So approaching the first lap, this will give us an indication of how they're going. About 73 seconds, so they're not too far off that 3-minute mark, which is 72s. So they're about on target for the 15:15 to 15:20 as they open up in the first lap here, or first 500 of the 5,000 metres.
A bit of a smaller field compared to the previous race. And we do see them pretty bunched. So 15:15 would be a time that 4 or 5 of these athletes in this pack would be aiming for, all the way up to the high 15s mark.
So Hershen now joins Calfan out front. Been quite a big move from Abdi Robley, and he's going to take the lead now. So Robley deciding he's going to really pick that pace up. And it is the Maccabi runner who responds immediately. Gee, that's injected some pace. You can see them all starting to have a think about what to do. And the 2 Maccabi runners are now in 2nd and 3rd. That's Hershen and also Zukovsky. But Robley really put it down, Michael.
You might as well use tonight as an opportunity to actually run fast. I mean, a race is a race, but when you've got people who are similar ability that you can sort of work off, and we see the wind has died down compared to earlier on in the evening, it is pretty good conditions to be able to run fast. So you might as well take this opportunity, although still early in the season. And Robley coming off Melbourne Marathon, I believe. So we'll get a read on the first kilometre split. 3:03 would be that 15:15 mark, and they go through in a 3:04, 3:05. So round about in the region of that 15:15 to 15:30. So they'll have to keep the pace honest over the next few kilometres to put themselves in the conversation for a PB.
So good to see that it is quite willing out front. Robley really set the cat amongst the pigeons and split these fields up. Group of 5 out front, chasing pack of 10 or more. Robley controlling pace out front at the moment. As we know, good half marathon runner Abdi Robley came 4th in the Victorian Championships in the Melbourne Marathon over that marathon distance. So stepping down to the 5K here this evening for Collingwood Harriers. So Baden Mooney is the other character in that lead bunch, the Mentone runner. Dipnell just behind him. Zukovsky and also Hershen, the 2 Maccabi runners. Bit of a gap back then. I think Stamoulis leading the pack there. Melbourne University, but in the light blue.
And the athletes just letting Roble do his thing out the front of the field, setting a solid pace, which should see them run through to some nice PBs. It almost looks like that second pack is just starting to close that gap though. So let's hope that Roble is actually keeping that pace honest at the head of the field.
Skovsky on the rails, Herschen to the outside, just one back from Roble. Dipnell now looks like he wants to take a little bit of, or move forward. He does have Mooney just in front of him, but yes, Stamoulis definitely bringing the group up, and that includes Corey Harrop, another one of the Melbourne Uni runners. The Deakin runner there, I think that's Lynch. And we could have a lead pack of about 15 before we know it.
Yeah, usually when you see a front pack extend or pack form into two, that's it for the race. But these athletes have done a really good job on getting back on their heels. Roble probably eased up the pace a little bit too much to let the rest of the race in the conversation. So 6:14 over 2K. Their first lap was a 3:05, so did slow down quite a bit. 3:05 to a 3:09 for that second lap. So probably put the foot on the brakes just a little bit too much. And now we see quite a thick pack of about 10, 11 athletes.
So Baden Mooney now taking up the charge out front. Zukovsky's hardly moved from that second position on the rails. Herschen to the outside of him. Dipnell also not moving too much. Harrop in next position. You've also got Noah Callett from Melbourne Uni sitting in that bunch. Stamoulis just behind him with Lynch.
And it'll be interesting to see what Roble ends up doing, leading for a fair portion of the first couple of kilometres. Now just sitting back in fifth position. Hopefully this will give him a bit of a rest to kick off in the later stages. So 2.4 kilometres down, 2.6 to go. We're at the critical halfway mark where things start to get tough. Maybe a few athletes starting to fall off the back of that pack and critical moves start to get made.
Just having a poke around his shoulder there, Baden Mooney from Mentone. And you'll see the two blue uniforms from Maccabi. Herschen just behind him. Dipnell still in fourth, has not moved from that position. A leader from a few laps ago, Roble, sitting on the rails, well bunched in. Benjamin Grant from Ringwood also joining the party in that lead bunch. He's just off the back of Lynch.
And Mooney still at the head of the field, but only just. So two athletes from Maccabi in Herschen and Zukovsky just on his heels, just waiting for their time to move forward, with Max Udaya sitting nicely in fourth position there. He's been just waiting. We'll see if he can have the durability in the closing stages over the last couple of Ks.
I think that's the first time we've called Max in this event, so the Now leading the Melbourne University white train is Max Ueda, but now we're seeing a bit of a break from the two boys from Maccabi. So Zukovsky's made a nice little move there. Hershen tries to challenge. Just to call out for our men's under 20, if we can have Jack Lana, Joel Harler, Eddie Fransky and Josh Carlin to the presentation area. We will do the presentation for that event shortly. So that's Jack, Joel, Eddie and Josh. They can make their way to the middle of the field and we'll do our presentations.
So with 4 laps to go, Zukovsky of Maccabi has bridged the gap over about 30 metres, just in the space of 400. Zukovsky, Hersham and Mooney are still your top 3, just in a different order to what it was 400 metres ago. So just Zukovsky, really, really smart running, just sitting in 2nd, 3rd position for this whole race, until he decided he was too fresh to be sitting there and needed to take the lead. So he's only extending his lead. 1,400 metres to go for Zukovsky. Hershen, Mooney and Roble. Battling it out for the minor placings. Anything can happen over the last kilometre. But Zukovsky is looking great. So 3 laps to go. Zukovsky with a lead of about 40 metres ahead of Hershen. Roblay's found himself into 3rd position, maybe even 2nd position in a matter of moments. Mooney hanging on there. Callett from Melbourne University. He's put himself into the mix. Maybe he might challenge for those minor placings. So Callett of the white Melbourne University almost getting up on the heels of Mooney now. Hershen and Roble in a definite 2nd position for Roble. But Zukovsky so a bit under a kilometre to go, Zukovsky, with now a lead of about 60, 70 metres on the rest of the field. It almost might be too big a gap now to challenge over the final 800. Roble is running really strong and he's pushing Hershen to follow him. The athletes are lining up behind Roble, including Callett of Melbourne University. Mooney of Mentone is in the mix as well. Quinton Raffray of Melbourne University we haven't mentioned yet, but he's in that next pack of about 5. But look at Zukovsky with 600 metres to go. Almost a gap of 100 now. He's just extending his lead. He's just getting faster as Roble, Hershen, Mooney, Callett all do their best to chase and battle it out, which is probably going to be for the minor placings now, and maybe collect themselves a PB in the process. So Zukovsky, the athlete from Maccabi, a bit over 1 kilometre to go. Sorry, a bit over 1 lap to go. It's getting late here at Lakeside Stadium. 1 lap to go as he collects the bell. Zukovsky of Maccabi, commanding lead over the field. Roble and Hershen battling it out now with 1 lap to go. Mooney, Raffray and Callett. It'll be an interesting battle for the minor placings here. Zukovsky is just extending his lead as this race has progressed. He waited patiently in the early stages for the first 3 kilometres. Then he finally made his move. And now with 200 metres to go, he's put himself in the position to win by the length of a straight here in the C race at the Victorian 5,000 metre championships. So Zakowski from Maccabi, 50 metres to go, charging towards the finish line in a time just over 15 minutes. 15:16, 15:17, 15:18 unofficial. Unreal running from Zakowski there of Melbourne Uni. And now the battle for the minor placings. Callett coming through. Mooney, Robley doing his best to hang on. And it looks like it's going to be Mooney followed by Callett, Raffray, Robley, Hershen, Monks, Stampoulis, Udaya, Haflan, followed by Lynch, Grant, Harp. Sprinting all the way to the line, Simmons, Vernal. So 15:18.79, the winning time there from Hershen. From Zakowski of Maccabi. And to round out the field and the championships here, Bonifay of Melbourne University.
But it's not over yet, Michael, because we're going to turn our attention back into the infield. And it's the presentation for the men's under-20 championship of Victoria. Receiving the bronze in the Victorian Championship in a time of 15:15.75, representing Box Hill, Joshua Carlin. Receiving the silver in the Victorian Championships. Unfortunately, he's had to make his way home to Mount Beauty in a time of 15:09.53, representing Albury Athletics, Eddie Fransky. Receiving our invitational silver medal in a time of 14:53.41, representing the Bankstown Athletic Club. It is Joel Harler. Now, Victorian champion in a time of 14:51.92, representing Glen Huntley, Jack Lana. So well done to Josh, Eddie, Joel and Jack, our medalists in the men's under-20 Victorian Championship for 2025. Jack Lana, I know it's late at night and you've been waiting because of the protest, but gee, what a great race that was.
Thank you. Yeah, bit gritty. Just had to lead it from the front, so just happy to get the win. So
I had my house and my entire life savings on Joel Harler there for a while, but gee, you just gritted that out. You just took possession of the rails, and that was the important thing, wasn't it? You wouldn't let him take the rail.
yeah, it was especially important in the final lap, just holding him off, just making sure I had good positioning. Yeah, it just worked out pretty well. So yeah, happy.
Did you come in with much race strategy, or was it just to get to the front and just see what you could do?
Well, I was actually aiming for a time, just trying to go under 14:45. Just ended up being a slow race. I didn't get in the end, but definitely happy with the win.
What's next for Jack Lana?
World Cross Trials next week, so that'll be interesting.
Good luck. Hope you go well.
Thank you.
So it's a wrap here at Lakeside Stadium for the 2025 edition of the Victorian 5,000 metre champs. So a big thank you to our Victorian officials. Also a big thanks to athletes who have made it such a good night, some great racing here. Big thanks also to our coaching brigade and the family and friends who have come along to support them. So good night here. Bit of a chilly one, but we've got through it, and some great results with world records, also world junior qualifiers, Australian records and Victorian records. And we look forward to seeing you all at the Zatopek, December 13, back here at Lakeside Stadium.